About this storm. Sure enough, it now has a tornado warning on it, and it is moving rapidly to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. We're going to see, unfortunately, more instances like this as the day progresses and this moves into a more favorable storm environment. Let's go ahead and zoom on in to the very latest. We are tracking this tornado warning that's issued for the storm near Wayne. You see the little appendage here as it's moving off to the north and east. It's going to be eventually heading towards Tribby and Asher. It's moving pretty quickly here. Let's switch over to velocity, and you can see the couplet right over Wayne. That's the broad area of circulation. The circulation is located just east of I-35. It is going to be moving northeast, a little bit north of Rosedale, and eventually traveling northeast of Gwinnett. Now this is moving into an area where it's a little bit warmer, where the dew points, the moisture surging as well. It's just south of a boundary that's allowing for instability. This is also an area that's almost been untapped by the severe potential that happened earlier this morning. So it is really thriving. Let's go ahead and tune in now with our storm tracker, Eric Dixon, who's been traveling early this morning. He is in Wayne right now, where the circulation is located it's now traveling into the town of Wayne. So what can you see? Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Emily. Yeah, I'm just slightly behind it to its southwest. I was looking over there as that hook was starting to form. There was definitely a lowering back in there. It wasn't pronounced like a lowering to the ground, but it was definitely the base was starting to come down on the end of that little appendage there with the tag that was coming down from that hook echo that was trying to form there. So I had to turn around there at Paoli. Couldn't get on the highway. There was a bridge out, so I'm kind of sneaking in behind it here. Going to come up behind it from Wayne here, but I've got a pretty good view of it. I had temperatures of 70 degrees over there, and I'm right about 61 in here right behind it, so it's right there on that warm front boundary. I don't see any power flashes from my vantage point in this area, but I'm just slightly behind it there, so I should have a pretty good view of anything that's going on over there here. So I'm fixing to turn east here towards Wayne. I should be right up under it here in just a few moments. Emily?
Checking right back in with you. I'm going to go ahead and put a track on this as it's moving northeast around 45 miles per hour. So this would take it into Spring Hill at 10:26 a.m., Box at 10:31 a.m., Eason at 10:34 a.m., Tribby at 10:46 a.m. And after that point, you know, a lot of these circulations don't actually hold together that long, at least early this morning. I think that'll change later in the day. But right now, it appears to be a pretty broad circulation compared to what we were looking at when it initially went up. So I'm going to kind of pause it here. You see when this initially goes up, it's a little bit tighter of a circulation just southwest of Wayne, and then it kind of broadens out. But yeah, the town of Wayne, there is definitely a circulation in place right now. Concerned about possible tornado in the Wayne area. I'd definitely be seeking shelter for the town of Corbett, for the town of Box, for the town of Eason. You are in the track as it is heading your way. So let's take a look at the reflectivity, and you can see this little hook that briefly formed. Again, I'm going to pause it here. There's the little appendage, there's the little hook that happened, and that was approximately 5 minutes ago. Little hook. And it continues to kind of wrap in a little bit farther north, and sometimes that can happen with these things. So switching over to velocity, letting it roll through. So it is veering more of a northerly track. It's now kind of wrapping in on itself. Broad circulation, that would be located right now just north of the town of Wayne. So we're keeping a very close eye on it. See what I'm talking about? Where the red meets the green, the yin and the yang, and it's kind of wrapping north, which can happen a lot with these types of circulations. It's occluding, and if that's the case, it's going to be traveling just east of Purcell, but it could veer a little bit more to the right. Again, let's go back to our storm tracker, Eric Dixon. He is right there. He should have a very good view of the base of the storm, and it's still pretty broad at this time. Have you been able to see the lowering kind of tightening up a little bit, wall cloud? Go ahead, Eric. Okay, we'll check in with Eric once again in a little bit once we can get him back on the line, or maybe he needs to unmute. But Eric, you are in the town of Wayne right now. If you're looking more to the north, that's more of the circulation's location now. It's going to be located to the north. It occluded, it kind of moved. And it looks like there's two areas of circulation. So you have the one east of Wayne, and then you have a broader circulation trying to reform east of Purcell. So there's two of them forming right now as it's occluding north. What are you seeing, Eric? Okay, we'll check back in with him. Let's go ahead and zoom on into the reflectivity, and to see the latest, you can see this is the one tornado warning in town. It is located currently east of Wayne, lifting northeast at this time. Originally, the polygon was set for this northeast track more towards Tribby, but at this time, because it's trying to occlude a little bit farther north, it's going to be making more of a northeasterly track, so more likely to be heading towards Tribby at this time versus its original track more to the direct northeast. So keeping a close eye on that. Here's the center of circulation, and see how originally east of Wayne, there still is a circulation there, but there's a new circulation kind of occluding north, a new circulation along Highway 39 east of Purcell that we're concerned with as well. And this is going to be lifting off to the northeast. So kind of these two areas, northwest of Rosedale, and this other one could be traveling directly towards Tribby. So this is what we're going to be encountering, unfortunately, I think, as the morning continues for these areas that are located along and south of the boundary. So I'm mainly talking about south central and southeastern Oklahoma. The atmosphere is ripe, it's primed, it's ready to go. We have storms continuing near Waurika, Duncan, Rush Springs. Those are not severe. Lifting off to the north. Oklahoma City, notice that we have a north wind. It's cool. That is a good thing. So we had our tornado warning at 6 o'clock this morning, a rude awakening by Mother Nature again. But that now helped lower the severe risk because it's causing the front to stall just south and east of the metro. Again, areas south of that boundary, that's where we're going to see increased instability, more storm fuel. Remember, it's a kind of an untapped atmosphere to the south as well. So still tracking this tornado warning. Just one tornado warning at this time. Farther up the line, storms continue over Stillwater, and to the west, we're tracking some wonderful rain over Sealing, over Visay, over Leedy, moving farther into southwestern Oklahoma, just some scattered showers. But the latest data still takes a line and progresses it to the east along the I-35 corridor closer to about noon or 1. We have team coverage. We're going to be keeping a close eye on this. Let's go to John Slater. He's going to talk over Lynx 1 right now. He's monitoring the latest as well. And John, did you see what I was talking about with the velocity? There are kind of two little areas as it was occluding north briefly.
Yeah, here's the latest over here on Lynx 1. You can see this is south and east of Oklahoma City. It does not include Oklahoma City. There's a couple of storms down here. This is the lead storm that has the tornado warning. It's coming out of McLean County, moving right through far southern, southeastern Cleveland County on its way into southwestern Potawatomi County. There's the storm right there. There's the hook. Let me go in here and check out some of the velocity for you. Here's the storm relative velocity, and you can see what Emily was talking about. There's kind of an elongated area. You can see it right here in southern sections of Cleveland County. That's where the circulation is right now. It's moving northeast about 40 miles per hour, so it's over Corbett right now, just northwest of Box, over towards Easton, eventually towards the Tribby-Anderson area into Potawatomi County. So there's the circulation right there. We can go over to the shear markers here, get a better idea where the shear is, the kind of rotation with the storm. You can see it there just southeast of Willowview and just about over Corbett right now, northwest of Box and over towards the Easton. It's moving east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour, so it's going to take it right into the southwestern, west central sections of Potawatomi County. So that's a tornado warning now going here with this particular storm. Let's go back over to the regular velocity here. There's a velocity, there's a storm relative velocity, and there's the circulation right now. It's not really wrapped up, you know, it's sort of just in the phases, early phases of developing right now at this point. Doesn't look like this is a tornado on the ground signature at this point. I think this is a radar indicated circulation developing right now Again, it's moving southeast of Lexington. It's going to say south and east of Slaughterville. This is southeastern Cleveland County into southwestern Potawatomi County. So Trousdale right there, Easton, Box, Tribby, Anderson. You're in the path of this severe storm that has a pretty good circulation. It's starting to intensify a little bit more. You can kind of see it starting to wrap up a little bit more right now. Zoom on in. There's Highway 39 to the east of Spring Hill is where this rotation is right now. And just west of Easton on Highway 39 is where the rotation is. Looks like it's getting a little bit stronger, but still, probably not on the ground at this point, but could spin up a tornado at any time. So we're watching it very closely. Let's see. Can we go back over to Eric Dixon? Is he near that storm? Eric, are you there?
I can take it now, John. I was
No, Eric, right now. You got it. Go ahead, Emily.
I was getting my batteries in my mic filled
Sorry
in.
about that.
It's been a long morning for a lot of people. Let's go ahead and take a look at the very latest. And on Max 3, here's our 1 tornado warning. And this is how it's been all morning. We haven't had a big watch. We haven't had anything like that. Just these warnings, they go from nothing to a tornado warning. And that's because of these brief circulations. So let's go ahead and take a look at the very latest. Zooming in, we are tracking bands of rain pushing across off to the east. And zooming in, we have this 1 tornado warning. It was sparked. You could see that little appendage, and it kind of had a little hook with it briefly. Kind of occluded in on itself, and now it's still moving off to the east-northeast. So it looks like it's going to split in between Tribby and Asher, a little bit closer to Tribby. Zooming in, this is pulsing up, unfortunately, like John was indicating. This is now a stronger circulation east of Purcell. This is what we're worried about, because as these storms continue to progress east, they're moving into an untapped atmosphere underneath the boundary where there's higher instability. It's a surge of temperature, a surge of moisture, in other words, storm fuel, and these are igniting. It's not our typical time for severe weather. It's 10:30 in the morning, but this is going to continue throughout the morning through early afternoon. This is now strengthening. Look at that circulation. The circulation's located, I would say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, approximately 5 miles east of Purcell along with Highway 39. And it's going to be traveling east-northeast and eventually crossing Highway 102. It looks like the circulation will be moving just south of Tribby, but if I live in the town of Tribby, I would definitely seek shelter. Let's zoom in a little bit closer for a better depiction here. You can see how it's trying to move northeast, and this is a strengthening circulation. This likely has a tornado on the ground located just northwest of, just east of 120th Street and north of the intersection of 192nd Street. If you live in the area, you know what I'm talking about. So Slaughterville, you're fine. This is heading just south of the town of Tribby. That's the next closest town. So make sure you're in your safe spot if you're in the vicinity at all, because this is a strengthening circulation. Likely has a tornado on the ground. Control room, let me know when we have our tracker back, because he is right there. And okay, we need to get him on the line. Let's go ahead and zoom on in, and you can see the center of the circulation here. This is a better view of some of the smaller towns. So this is located south of McKittyville, east of Willowview, and northeast of Spring Hill. So these towns are in the clear, but as it travels east, it is going to be moving just north of the town of Easton. So it's moving just north of Easton along York Road. This is kind of a rural area, but people in the area will know what I'm talking about. Then it moves off to the north and east, and it will be moving north of Trousdale, just south of Tribby or hitting Tribby, depending on its exact track, and perhaps heading towards Anderson as well. So ongoing tornadic circulation. You don't want to see the red and the green, meaning like this. I have to say the latest scans from the radar are indicating that it's trying to blow out into more damaging straight line winds. John, what's your radar analysis right now? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that right now. It looks like it's going through a little, definitely kind of a stages. By the way, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for the storm right behind that one. So the cell to the west of Paoli is now severe, east of Lindsay.
There we go. Yep.
So the two polygons are going over each other, but it's just going to be one of those days where that's going to happen because they're so close together. But the lead one, that's the tornadic, possible tornado cell. That's moving into Pottawatomie County. And the one behind that is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning west of Paoli.
Got it. So zooming in, you're talking about the one in Maysville, which now is presenting kind of a little bit of this appendage.
Yeah.
And this is different than what we were dealing with this morning when we had QLCS tornadoes. Those are tornadoes that are brief spin-ups along a line. This is a little bit different because they're a little bit more discrete, so a little bit more on their own versus a solid line of storms. And the reason why that's concerning is they can consume a little bit more energy then. So they're moving into a more favorable environment. Here's the ongoing tornado warning. We still have a well-defined circulation just south of McKittyville. I'm getting real close here because I know the people in this area want to know exactly where it's located. And this is located, I'd say, 1 mile south of McKittyville. That's where the circulation is. And it looks like there could be another one developing just northeast of McKittyville as well. And
we have another severe storm down there just crossing the Red River developing rapidly down the line, which is sort of out of your view. So it looks like this boundary, Emily, that's set up just southeast of Oklahoma City, like on the southeast side of the metro, is lighting up. The boundary's lighting up now.
Yep. And this is as our main upper level storm is swinging our way. And we're talking about the boundary real quick. Let's take a look at these temperatures. And you see the big difference between OKC and Ardmore right now? Yeah, we have the low 70s and even the 80s for McAllister. So this is the warm, moist air spilling north. And then you have the cool air. We have the rain-cooled air from the severe weather we had at Oklahoma City earlier this morning. And it's this boundary that the storms are flourishing along. And that's what we're concerned about for additional severe weather development. And I do think it will progress. It's going to go up from here on out. That's something we're definitely concerned about. Winds, too, showing the story. This is exactly where the boundary is located. So located draped across just south and east of Oklahoma City. So if you're north of it, your severe risk is significantly lowered. So for now, Oklahoma City's looking a lot better. I'm always cautious to say that. But as long as that boundary stays south of us, which it should at this point, we're looking pretty good. But areas just south and east for now, so including Norman, even to Shawnee, there is a severe weather potential there until the boundary dips a little bit farther south. So it's something we're watching. But these storms that are forming and interacting with the boundary, they're getting some additional low-level spin, and that's what's causing the tornado genesis, or at least the signatures. Updated risk, this makes sense. So just talking about the boundary and things shifting farther south and east, well, that's reflected by the enhanced risk that is now pushed farther south and east. So places like Ada to Ardmore to McAllister will see the greater threat, a growing severe weather risk as we progress throughout the rest of this morning into the afternoon hours. While Oklahoma City, yes, it's still there, but it's a lot lower. As long as all you need to know is it's cloudy and cool, then there's a big difference. All right, let's go to Eric Dixon. He is near Purcell. Eric, you are right by the circulation. We have that severe storm just south of you as well. What have you seen?
Hey, I'm just a few miles past Purcell here. Had to get through some construction, but I'm pulling up behind it over here. I do not see any power flashes off in the distance here. I'm just barely behind that warm front here, so I'm kind of in the cold sector here. But I am pulling up on it. I'm going down 39 right now. I'm going to get over to 102 here in just a little bit and jog north with it here. But that thing's hauling pretty fast here. There won't be much warning for the people ahead of it. So, you really need to take that warning, and you might not be able to see this tornado if there's going to be one on the ground. It's going to be kind of hidden back in there. A lot of rain with this, a lot of haze in the air. Of course, I'm looking for power flashes off in the distance. That'll indicate if there's any tornado on the ground that's tearing up, maybe some power lines. I don't see that as of right now. I'm just probably a few miles behind that circulation here. I'm not really seeing a hard, gate to gate on this yet, but it's definitely worth watching. It's definitely a rotation in there. They issued another tornado warning just to the north of it, just in addition to with this one here. But I'm fixing to hop on 102 here and jog north with this and follow it. Emily?
Yeah, it's moving really fast. You're gonna have to blaze east to be able to get a view of it if you're by Purcell right now, because there is a new tornado warning that has been issued, and the circulation now is mainly south of Etowah, and it is still heading towards Tribby. So Tribby's still in the line of fire, and this thing is flying to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Let me go ahead and put an updated track on it right now. I gotta update it to 45. That is pretty fast for a tornado warning. You don't like seeing that. We kind of have two little areas of circulation too, but let's go ahead and push it northeast. So this is the track, and so it's going to be moving into Etowah any moment now. Macomb 1046, Highland School 1047, Brooksville 1051, Tecumseh at 10:56 a.m. So those are your latest storm tracks. Let's go ahead and look at, you see the little hook feature here. So I wanted to give a zoomed out view. We have the old tornado warning south. We have a severe thunderstorm warning still for the storm over Wayne, but we're concerned about Etowah right now. That is the main area of circulation. It is riding along the boundary like John was talking about. And it's along that boundary that you are going to have some additional low-level spin, some additional shear that would allow for these tornadoes to happen. And that's why there's a difference between this northern part versus that southern severe storm. It's that subtle little difference of it interacting with the boundary to give the low-level spin and cause a tornado to drop. Look closely. Do you see this little appendage, this little hook feature here north of Etowah? That's what sparked the new tornado warning just north of it. And that happens oftentimes. You have one kind of occlude or wrap up, and then a new one will drop down. Let's zoom on in, take a look at the velocity, and we still are seeing that couplet east of Etowah that's going to be lifting northeast. In addition to that, I think these winds are really pulsing up in this line. Winds potentially up to about 60, 70 miles per hour out of that. And it's on the outer edge of this band that we're concerned about, that broader circulation. It does look a little bit broader now, but it's definitely still there east of Etowah, and it's traveling more east-northeast. It'll be traveling northeast by Macomb. Wider view showing the severe thunderstorm here. There is also a severe thunderstorm coming out of Waurika, and that's drifting northeast towards Healton. So let's go to John Slater on links. I know you are also looking at the shear rates right now on our links.
Yeah.
What can you tell us, John?
Well, right now, just a big view. Again, that boundary is stalling out a little bit, just south and east of the metro area. On the big view, there's Oklahoma City. So the severe weather potential is really going to be across the southeast and east side of the metro area, and points to the east and south. That other storm down here in Jefferson County is really developing now as well. So we'll zoom on in here for a look at what's going on. These storms right now, just to the south and east of Oklahoma City, you can see this is a storm that has a tornado warning with it. I think it's the same storm, really, that has two tornado warnings with it. The southern part of the storm, and then there's another circulation up there on the north side of that storm. But there's a track coming out of Cleveland County now into western sections of Pottawatomie County, very close to Tribby. Let's go in and take a look at the velocity first off. We'll look at the storm relative velocity. You can see there is some circulation, obviously, with this storm. That's why there's a tornado warning. It's now crossing into Pottawatomie County, very close to Tribby right now. It's moving east-northeast very quickly at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So let's go to Corey Inman right now. Corey, what's your 20? Where are you, and what are you seeing at this point?
Yeah, John, we're on 102 north of Tribby, here on 102, trying to make our way back up to Highway 9. The camera's pointed back to the west. You can see the leading edge of the storm here as it comes through the Etowah area, trying to make out any lowerings or any area of rotation there. Haven't been able to make it out just yet. We're trying to get on a hill here so that we can get a good look at it. But right now, haven't located any lowering associated with it. But like you said, it's racing to the northeast at about 45. So people from Tecumseh up to Shawnee need to go ahead and take their tornado precautions. This thing will be coming right over the top of us here anytime, John.
Okay, Corey, thanks for that report. Yeah, exactly right. That storm is very close to Tribby, maybe just northwest, and heading up towards Tecumseh eventually, moving northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So that's a tornado warning for you folks in central Pottawatomie County. Corey Inman is all over that storm. We're watching that closely. Let's go back to the southwest, and we have another severe storm here right behind that one around Wayne, which is moving east-northeast at about 40 to 45. That's going to move back up through southern Cleveland County. That's a severe storm right now, not tornadic, but it definitely has the potential to go tornadic, no doubt about that. Let's zoom on down a little bit because we have the storm down here in Jefferson County, which is just going tornadic right now as well. So we have a brand new tornado warning down here in Jefferson County, right along Highway 70 here, west of Ringling. There it is, east of Warwica. It's moving east-northeast at about 40 to 45. We'll check out the velocity here. Here's the storm relative velocity. You can start to see some of the velocities in this storm now right on Highway 70 west of Ringling. And if we look at the shear analysis here, you can see that's increasing right now in Jefferson County. And I want to pop back up to those storms to the northeast here. And you can see the shear vectors with this storm in Pottawatomie County are pretty high. It's kind of elongated right now, but there's your spin right now just to the north and west of Tribby, moving east-northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. And we got another tracker out there. Was that Eric Dixon? Let's go to Eric Dixon. Eric, where are you? And give me a quick report. Okay, well, we got our trackers out right now. Again, we got a tornado warning right around the Tribby area in western Pottawatomie County. That's a tornado warning. You can see it right here. Let me go to the storm relative velocity. You can see it better. There's the circulation. Tribby, Macomb, Brooksville area heading up towards Tecumseh or just south of there. That's a tornado warning for Pottawatomie County. Radar indicated. We've got our storm trackers out there. We don't have a tornado on the ground at this point, okay? Radar indicated tornado for Pottawatomie County. Right behind that, there's another storm. The velocity is not showing a whole lot with that one right now. Let me click it over to radar. You'll see the hook. There's another storm over Wayne and moving east of Wayne back into southern Cleveland County around Corbett. Has some circulation with it, is severe. So we're going to watch that very closely. So now I think we do have Eric Dixon back up there in Pottawatomie County. Go ahead, Eric, give me a report.
Yeah, I'm moving north right now, just south of Etowah. So I'm going to hop on that highway that'll take you into Tribby here. So I'm just barely behind these circulations here. I do not see a base in this from my vantage point. I've got a lot of trees in front of me here, so I got to break free of all these trees here. But there's a lot of bad reception, so you're going to probably lose me back and forth here on this road here. But I haven't seen any lowerings when I get a little tiny clear spot. I haven't seen anything as of yet. No power flashes here. I could tell that just to my east, that boundary was back in there. You can kind of see a little bit more lighted area back to the east where it's a lot warmer. It's in the 70s over here. I'm about 62 boundary, which is where that storm is riding. So I'm going to come up.
Okay. All right, Eric. Yeah. Emily, you got some more information?
Oh, yeah. Let's take an overview right now. Thanks for that, Eric. Sometimes it's challenging when they're more rural areas. There can be some cell issues. So we'll be tuning in with him shortly. We have plenty of trackers out since early this morning. Of course, a rude awakening for the Oklahoma City Metro with a tornado warning around 6 a.m. And we had a couple of tornado warnings. This is a little bit different setup. Earlier this morning, we had what we call QLCS tornadoes, quasi-linear convective system. So little spin-ups along a line, and they're oftentimes weaker and very short-lived. This is a different setup. We have a little bit more isolated storms, and they're interacting with a boundary. And when that happens, it gives a little additional low-level spin. It's moving into a more favorable unstable air mass, especially as they travel farther east throughout the day. And so we may see a little bit more robust storms as a result. So that's why we say don't let your guard down. I will say Oklahoma City, because the boundary is draped just south and east, and we have a north wind and cooler air, that's going to really help lower the severe weather threat, non-existent to the northwest. And it's all reflected with the latest outlook for today. The enhanced risk has shifted farther to the south and east. So this is the latest. We're focusing on this tornado warning. There still is, just south of the town of Pink, this little notch here that we're watching. And this is concerning because it's going to move just south of the town of Shawnee. Shawnee, we're keeping a close eye on you. This is going to be moving just northwest of Tecumseh and south of Shawnee, the tornado warning right now. Let's go ahead and switch over to velocity for the very latest. We're still seeing it's very subtle. It's very subtle. There's kind of two little areas east of Pink along Highway 9 102, and then there's a tiny little subtle couplet just south of that as well. So these are pretty weak and subtle, but they still could be dropping tornadoes as they move off to the north and east, eventually heading towards Shawnee. This other one heading towards Tecumseh. Right now we have Corey Inman. He's located in this area north of Tribby. Corey, we're now watching the northern end of this line as there could be some quick subtle circulations eventually heading towards Shawnee or towards the Tecumseh area. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, Emily, I'm 4 miles to the west of Tecumseh on Highway 9. If you look, I've got the camera pointed here to the southwest. If you look over the top of the house here in the shot, there is a bowl lowering in there. There's a little bit of spin back just to my southwest here. Panning the rest of the line here, it's pretty flat to the north. The areas you were talking about there. Don't see any appendages hanging out, nothing that says there's any localized spin. But this one area right here directly to the southwest of this house that's in the shot, there is a bowl lowering there, and there's a little bit of spin there at the cloud base. So this is going to move up to the Tecumseh area. Like I said, we're 4 west of Tecumseh on Highway 9, and it's going to pass to the south of where I'm at, so should probably go right into Tecumseh, Emily.
Yes. All right. Well, we appreciate you being right there in case it does wrap up. We know that you are right on top of it because these are very subtle circulations. And that's what we had earlier today. I mean, you still need to be prepared to take action if you are under a tornado warning. Notice that southern polygon has been eliminated and replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning. So we still could have 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. But you can see these two subtle areas. So we're watching just northwest of Macomb and then perhaps this tiny area just southeast of Pink as they move off to the north and east, so towards Brooksville, the other one towards Tecumseh. At this moment, it has not tightened up. It's a little bit more subtle, but we're still keeping a close eye on it as it travels pretty fast off to the northeast, around 40 to 45 miles per hour. We also have the tornado warning ongoing in southwestern Oklahoma. This is going to be located just west of Cornish, near Loco, heading towards Healton. Switching over, this is the circulation that's going to be located west of Ringling by about 2 or 3 miles. Looks like it's going to lifting northeast, eventually crossing 89 and moving north of Healton at this time in southwestern Oklahoma. Wider view showing you the latest. We're still tracking this severe thunderstorm warning for the southern storm, but we're tracking on the northern edge the tornado warning that is going to be moving northeast eventually towards Shawnee. So keeping a close eye on that. Off to the west, seeing some good soaking rains. We're still concerned about this line of storms really lighting up as it moves into a more favorable environment off to the south and east. Let's go ahead and take a look at our temperatures. This really tells the story. So where it's cool, it's calm. We don't have to worry about the severe weather to the north and west. Oklahoma City is in the cool sector right now. We're at 61 degrees with the north wind. That's going to squash severe weather potential. So great news there. The boundary, though, is just south and east of the Oklahoma City metro. So we still have some severe weather potential from about Norman to Shawnee, as we're seeing right now to the Shawnee area. And then look at the winds, a breezy north wind for Oklahoma City, but a south wind backing up against it. And that's where we're watching along and south of the boundary. And any storms interacting with the boundaries are getting these quick little low-level spins. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Here's the very latest risk, and it has been adjusted accordingly with the boundary. So it's now pushed a little bit farther south and east, where we're going to see the greater potential for tornadoes as well as some wind and hail throughout the afternoon hours. But our window for central Oklahoma is about now until 1 or 2 p.m. And then it slides off to the southeast later today. Let's go ahead, go to one of our storm trackers, Eric Dixon. If he's back on the line, we know he's had a little bit of a cell issue. Okay, let's go back to Corey. Corey's right on top of it. Corey, what's the latest?
Yeah, Emily, we are eastbound on the Highway 9 here towards Tecumseh. We're still about 3.5 miles to the west of Tecumseh. Looking back to the south, the area that had the lowering on it that we were showing you there on the last hit, that area is kind of broadened out, lost that lowering. We're starting to see a new area of rotation just to the south of Highway 9, maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles. So this thing continues to blast to the east at about 40 to 45, so it's going to be into Tecumseh in no time, Emily.
Okay, thanks for that report. We know you're on top of it, and it is challenging on a day like today. One, very subtle circulations, and then two, these are moving so fast that it is very hard to stay ahead of it. And our trackers are on top of it. They have been since early this morning. So let's take it out to Aaron Brackett right now. He is continuing our team coverage. We like to have multiple meteorologists around because we want to keep track of every little potential area of spin, and they're very subtle. It has been since early this morning. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, continue to follow this multi-day event that we have across the area. Still, the tornado warning does continue. So centered right on Tecumseh and Shawnee in the tornado warning. If we can, let's go over to links too whenever we get the chance. We're watching the velocity here. This is from the Twin Lakes radar, and this is from the KFOR radar. So it is a different perspective, a little bit of a different look on it right here. And as we notice over the last 15 minutes or so, the rotation has weakened just a little bit, just as Emily has been saying, but it is still there. So this is going to be looking into the mid-levels. So right near Bethel Acres, kind of between Bethel Acres and Shawnee. That's where we have the greatest spin that is moving right now. So we'll go ahead and kind of stop the clock and take a look at the now. This is the latest scan right here. So Bethel Acres spin is just barely off to the south. Shawnee, it's approaching you pretty much right toward Shawnee. So at the very least, you're going to have some enhanced hail with this. You're going to have some high level winds, 60, 70 miles per hour at the least, which is the same as a weak tornado. And we continue to follow that moving off to the north and northeast. So we'll go ahead and animate that again for you so we can see again, that's exactly where it's moving. And Emily was talking about the temperatures. Well, early on Sunday morning when we had the tornado outbreak, parts of the West Metro were 61 to 59 degrees. There were no tornadoes there. Where it was warmer, about 65 to low 70s, that's where we had the tornadic activity. So that temperature does matter a lot, and it is warmer with a favorable wind in this area. So we continue to watch that moving off to the north and other areas of concern. A little bit farther off to the south here near Wayne. That thunderstorm has passed Lexington, and as we were talking about earlier, also some active thunderstorms well off into southern parts of the state. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the rainfall. This is reflectivity. It's what you see normally on a newscast, tells you how heavy it's raining and what's going on exactly with that. And you can see, again, that little notch is right there. Yeah, that notch is still there. Velocity seems to look a little better, but see that? We're going to stop this right here. We're going to stop it. You can see that little tail right there. So that tail is kind of coming in and still active, and we're going to kind of draw what's going on here. So you got wind coming in from the south and east, wrapping into it. On the backside, you have rain-cooled air coming like this, and this is where you have that area of spin. We're seeing it on velocity. You can see it just with the shape of the thunderstorm right here of the supercell, and that general motion is off to the north and northeast toward the Shawnee area. So we'll go ahead and animate that now. So knowing what we see on radar, we'll go ahead and there we go. Go ahead and make this move here. So you can see that just kind of wrapping in, that tail kind of wrapping in right there as it moves closer and closer to Shawnee. So folks in Shawnee, tornado precautions, interior room, away from windows. And if you have a storm shelter, if you have underground shelter, that's best right now. Go ahead and look at velocity on this as we see here. Again, there's the winds kind of wrapping in. It's not as strong as it has been.
Tornado watch just issued.
Okay, tornado watch is out, likely for that's the south and east of Oklahoma City, the metro, I'm guessing here with that. We'll get that up for you. But tornado watch is out, and for a good reason. A watch means to watch for quickly changing conditions as they might change very rapidly. That's what we're seeing right now. So again, Shawnee, Tecumseh, it's going to come very close to you, but the heart of the circulation is moving toward the Shawnee area. Other locations in southern Oklahoma, this is far south, but still watching it. A developing tornado moving pretty much north of Ringling. It's going to clear Ringling, but there is some on the back that we're going to watch. Heads up for Healdton in far southern Oklahoma. That system is in some favorable air as well, so we're going to watch that very carefully as that continues in southern Oklahoma. This will be an early heads up for places like Sulphur, Wynnewood, Stratford, and if it goes a little bit farther off to the north, Pauls Valley. We'll be watching that very carefully. Let's go over to Corey Inman right now. He's watching things very carefully. Corey, what do you got?
Yeah, Aaron, I'm on the northwest side of Tecumseh. The new area of rotation, like you were talking about, it's north of Highway 9 now, so it's going to go north of Tecumseh, up towards the Shawnee area. As we come out of the trees here, you'll be able to see the big bowl that's there now. There's actually, I'm going to stop right here, Aaron. There's wrapping rain curtains underneath that bowl. Let me get in a clear spot here, but we've got wrapping rain curtains underneath the bowl here. Northwest of Tecumseh. You should be able to see it as we come through the trees here. It's just off to our west, maybe a mile, maybe 2 miles. just kind of trying to navigate the trees here. But right now, northwest of the Tecumseh, big bowl lowering with wrapping rain curtains underneath it there.
We see that, Corey. We're watching it very carefully here. That low hanging wall cloud right there. It's kind of expansive. It stretches pretty far, but you see the rain-free base. When there's not rain under it, you know that there's velocity upward. There's air moving upward. We don't see a tornado on the ground right now, but again, this is a heads up near the Tecumseh area, Shawnee, Bethel Acres. That's trying to develop. It's trying to spin up. We'll go over to Emily Sutton here. She's watching things very carefully. Got our team of trackers outside and our team of meteorologists inside. Go ahead.
That's right. We have a brand new tornado watch that has been issued for portions of eastern, central, and southern Oklahoma. This goes all the way until 6 p.m. Notice how it does not include the Oklahoma City Metro. We've been talking about this boundary, and thankfully it is setting up south and east of Oklahoma City, which means the severe risk is staying south and east. Now, if you think it's interesting that these are bordering the watch, that's because it is these tornado warnings are directly along the boundary at this time because they are interacting with the boundary, giving additional low-level spin and allowing for these brief circulations. Behind it, just a huge swath of rain, and we still have development in the Texas Panhandle. We are expecting this to really start to ramp up all the way through about noon into the afternoon hours as it progresses east into a more favorable environment. So I have not seen reports, but I bet the sirens are going off in Shawnee. Maybe your phones are going off. Let's take a look at the exact area of rotation is located right now. See the subtle appendage. That's where we're watching just north of Tecumseh. You heard Corey talking about it. This is the area of circulation. It is moving just south of the town of Shawnee, and this thing is racing off to the east, northeast, a little bit more to the east at this time at around 40 to 45 miles per hour. So I would still get in your safe spot, Shawnee, especially south of the town of Shawnee. That's where the main circulation is located. And we're watching across this line here of any subtle brief circulations. Let's go back to Corey Inman. He has a pretty good shot of this storm right now, this tornadic storm that is approaching just south of Shawnee, just north of Tecumseh. We have that area of circulation. We have a new one, a little bit stronger, just north of Tecumseh right now. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, Emily, we're coming into the southwest side of Shawnee right now, right here by the Fire Lake Casino. Looking back into that area, you can see there's a lot of rotation in there at the cloud base on that lowering. Don't have the wrapping rain curtains under it like we had just a few minutes ago. But there's a lot of spin in there, just kind of panning around, making sure we don't have anything drop down. But it's right behind us here, Emily, coming into the southwest side of Shawnee at the Fire Lake Casino.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, and we see what you're talking about, and that circulation is starting to tighten up right now, and it'd be located just south of Shawnee. I had John looking up the exact speed on this thing, so it's moving off to the east-northeast at, you said 30 or 35?
35 miles an hour.
Yeah, 35 miles per hour. The reason why this matters is because I'm putting a direct track on it for you guys. So there you go, moving off to the east-northeast. Shawnee, you need to get in your safe spot right now. The town of Shawnee, it's going to be moving in any minute, mainly the south side of town. And Grove School, 1106, Hilltop Church, 1108, and Neal at 1113, the way it's traveling right now, unless it changes direction. So we are keeping a close eye on this with Corey Inman. He is right there, keeping a close eye on this storm. If it drops a tornado, he's probably going to see it. So this is located just southwest of the town of Shawnee. I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in even closer to give you a specific look here of where the circulation's located. And it would be just southwest of Shawnee by about 2 miles, about to cross Highway 177. There is another small, subtle area of possible circulation west of the town of Tecumseh, and the latest radar scan indicates that it is pulsing up a little bit just west of the town of Tecumseh. But the main new tornadic circulation is going to be moving into the town of Shawnee, just south of the town of Shawnee. We have severe thunderstorm warning to the south, and I have to acknowledge still an ongoing tornado warning just southeast of the town of Loco. So for Shawnee, I'm sure your sirens are going off. We are tracking this for you. Potential tornado could be impacting the southern limits of Shawnee. That's our main concern at this time. You can still see a subtle appendage that could be the possible tornado. We still have that previous tornado warning behind it, but the newer one is moving a little bit farther north, near Shawnee. We have a double box with Corey Inman right now where you can see he is tracking that lowering very closely. Of course, Corey, jump in if you see a tornado on the ground. A lot of these circulations have been subtle all morning long. By that, I mean they could be short-lived. They pulse up. That's when it still could produce a tornado and pulse back down. So the current area of circulation would be just south of Shawnee by about 1 or 2 miles, crossing 177 and moving off to the east. Let's go back to Corey for the latest. And Corey, it did tighten up there for a second, and now it looks like it's getting a little bit broader again. What can you tell us from the ground truth?
Yeah, it's kind of broadened out, Emily. There's a new lowering. I've got it panned there. Probably going to put it going right over central Shawnee. We're just to the east of the Fire Lake Casino going east, and it's now to the north of us, the new lowering. Not making out anything that looks like a tornado is imminent, but there's still some spin there at the base of the lowering. But like I said, it's just north of us, going to go through Shawnee right now.
Okay, thanks for that report. Yep, so Shawnee, hopefully you're in your safe spot. Thankfully, it does appear to be a little bit broader, but these things can quickly tighten back up and produce a tornado. So that's why there's a tornado warning. We want you to be in your safe spot. It does look like it's blowing out a little bit. You could still have 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, and it's going to be racing northeast in between the towns of Johnson and Neal, eventually crossing I-40. So hopefully no one's traveling I-40 near the Shawnee exit or just east of the Shawnee exit, because that may be causing some issues. Then farther down the line, still severe thunderstorm warning just for some stronger winds near Tribby, but there is a brand new tornado warning that has just been issued. This is still for that same circulation located northwest of Hilton, and that's going to be traveling northeast a little bit closer to Tatum's now if it moves this direct track. Let's go ahead and put a track on this one. This one's moving a little bit faster, so let me adjust it really quick. This is going to be moving off to the northeast, and it is almost on the tail end of, it'll be heading towards Wynnewood, so I'm going to extend this out. It is going to be heading towards Wynnewood on its current track if it doesn't change track. So it's going to be moving to Elmore City 1101 into Purnell at 1101 into Wynnewood. Okay, that's not right. It's Wynnewood in the next 15 to 20 minutes. That track did not work. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the latest. So a broad view, you can see that we have ongoing tornado warnings at this time. We have 2 tornado warnings. We have the adjusted one to the south, and we have the ongoing severe thunderstorm warning. The green represents the tornado watch across eastern parts of central and southern Oklahoma. This is based off the boundary. The warmer air is located to the south and east, and that's where we're going to see the greater severe weather threat as the day progresses, because we have warm, moist air in place to the south and east. We are going to zoom on into the latest, and we're still tracking some heavy rain off to the west, but you can see this band starting to shape up. So this may be the final band that's happening. The models have been showing around noon or 1 p.m., mainly 1 p.m. consistently, and I think this is what's happening right now, a little bit earlier. So this is kind of the final band, the final push that pushes east. Once this moves through, though, and the front takes over later today, we're going to have some calm weather to look forward to for Election Day. But until then, we're still keeping a close eye. This tornado warning storm, you can still see a little bit of a notch here south of, a little bit of a notch into the line, and that's just south of Shawnee, and that's where we're concerned about the area of circulation just north of Tecumseh. Zooming on in, so we have this one that kind of washed out, and then a stronger circulation now developing north of Tecumseh. Let's go back to Corey Inman for the latest. And so, oh, okay, we'll be checking back in with him in a moment. Broader circulation near Tecumseh. Farther south, we are still tracking the tornado warning. This is the same one as before, but the circulation is located just east of Loco, and this is going to be traveling more to the northeast, south of Tatum's. So we're keeping a close eye on that one as well. And same thing, you can see how it's kind of notching out. These have been very subtle circulations, but this one has been pretty persistent. It's southwestern Oklahoma. Let's zoom on in again. You can see that broad circulation east of Loco moving northeast. So a wider views showing, again, 2 ongoing tornado warnings, one ongoing severe thunderstorm warning, and unfortunately, I do think it may progress upwards into more multiple tornado warnings as these storms start to move into a more favorable environment. Look at these temperatures all the way in the 70s, nearing 80 degrees from McAllister to the northwest. We're seeing the 40s and 50s. So to the west, no severe weather threat there. You can see the winds are north for Oklahoma City. That is a favorable thing. That's a good thing. It's keeping our severe weather threat down. Still a strong south wind in southern and eastern Oklahoma. The latest risk map has shifted farther south and east to account for where the boundary is stalling out. And that's why the main risk later today will be from Ardmore to Ada to Durant and to McAllister. All right, let's go to our team of meteorologists. John Slater is going to have the latest here. John,
all right.
What can you tell us? Maybe you can show us some of that shear.
Yeah, let's go over to Lynx 1 right now. First on the big view, you can see that tornado watch. It's a pretty big tornado watch, and it goes way out to like 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. That's because this boundary, which is just on the east side of the metro area where these storms are all firing up, is not moving that fast to the east. So these storms are going to be moving along the boundary pretty quickly northeast at about 35, but the boundary itself isn't moving that fast to the east. So we're going to have, multiple severe storms moving over kind of the same counties as these storms. Again, they're moving rapidly, but the boundary they're moving along isn't really moving that fast. So that's something to think about. And that's also going to cause a lot of heavy rain over the same areas, and flooding could be a big concern going forward here. We still have those flash flood watches. So let me zoom on in. We have this tornado-warned storm. This is heading up towards I-40, believe it or not. And if it continues moving at the speed northeast at 35, it's going to cross I-40 here, mile marker 192 and 202 pretty shortly. So let me zoom on in here. When we get Corey Inman back, let us know as soon as possible because he's right in this storm. But you can see the main storm just north of Shawnee now. It's tracking east-northeast right up to I-40 at this time. We'll do the storm relative velocities. Let's go in here, and you can see that it's crossing basically the interstate right now. So let me zoom on out. There's that circulation. The first circulation right there is north-northeast of Shawnee. It's crossing I-40 right now. So
they're trimming the tornado polygon to exclude Shawnee now that it's passed.
Okay, yeah, on the western sides of the tornado watch, trimming down, that makes sense. But there's the circulation, and this is a dangerous situation when you have tornadic circulations going over major interstates, because a lot of times people, traveling on those roads are not from this area. They're going from New York to the Grand Canyon or whatever they're doing, and they're just driving along, and they don't know what they're driving into. So it's crossing the interstate right now, a mile marker 192, 202. That's the circulation. This is a radar indicated tornado warning, okay, right? There's no confirmed reports of a tornado on the ground. This is radar indicated. You can see it's going to move right up towards Johnson and towards Garden Grove eventually here. That's that one storm. Let me quickly just put on the shear marker here for you. You can see that has come down. So the circulation is not quite as strong as it was earlier. It's kind of reorganizing a little bit. Conditions are still very favorable for tornadoes in this type of situation. I think they're the smaller tornadoes. I don't think the conditions are as great as like what we had Sunday morning, where we had so much shear. We got those bigger tornadoes, EF2, F3. I think these are the smaller ones right now. And you can see the shear marker coming across the interstate. So it's weakening a little bit, but it's still a tornado warning. It's still got circulation, no doubt about it. There it is. You can see the hook right there, moving right across the interstate now. It's already north and east of I-40. You can see the hook. Looks like it might be getting a little bit better organized there, just west of Johnson as it moves northeast at about 35 miles per hour. It's going to take it just to the northwest of Garden Grove there. So we're watching that. I know we're going to get Corey Inman back here in a jiffy. Another storm behind that is severe down through Pottawatomie County into southern Cleveland County, not tornadic at this time. And then the one down the line here moving into Carter County right now has a tornado warning with it as well. And that's going to be tracking up towards the Wynnewood area. So we're watching that very closely as well. Let's go to the storm relative velocities. You can see that circulation is now in Carter County as I zoom on in here. You can clearly see the circulation is crossed now into Carter County, moving northeast at about 35. It's going to take it towards the Wynnewood area, just south of Elmore City here pretty quickly. So that's the latest what's going on. Let's go to our storm trackers real quickly if we got any. Do we have Eric? Okay, at this point, they're just kind of reorganizing. So let's go over to Aaron Brackett. Aaron, looks like that storm's crossed the interstate now. up there right in Potawatomi County, northeast of Shawnee, across the interstate, heading up towards far southeastern Lincoln County with a tornado warning.
What's happening here is we've got that boundary, the kind of north and south boundary that's separating the warmer temperatures that are east of Oklahoma City. They're in the upper 60s and 70s. These thunderstorms, as we've been talking about here all morning long, are kind of riding that boundary. And now we're starting to see them go a little bit more north than east, especially the ones that have the tornadic circulation. We're seeing that just a little bit more. So again, as John was saying, this has moved just north of I-40. Sometimes these wobble back and forth. If a tornado gets rooted, sometimes it'll take more of a right-hand turn, but that's what we're seeing so far as this individual storm and a lot of the others that we will see today. So we're going to go ahead and kind of look at this in 3 dimensions, because a lot of times this will help us show you what's going on inside the storm. So we have some hail with this, and that's being lofted right here. So here's the town of Johnson. This is just north of I-40. Here's the Shawnee Mall. Here's Shawnee. It is lifted north of Shawnee. Now, you're getting a lot of lightning. You're getting a lot of rain in Shawnee, but this is the main core of the storm. This is the updraft right here. So this is I-40. That would be north, and this is the core of that system. Now it is lifted north of Shawnee, so it is north of the city. So again, folks, is still stay in your safe areas. There still could be some gusty winds on the backside of this in Shawnee, but the good news for drivers on I-40 is the main circulation, and some of that hail has passed off to the north of I-40. So you can still see there is that hook right there. So small community of Johnson, that's where we have the hook right now. And that will be a concern for, of course, continuing potential tornadic development right there. So north of I-40, other locations in the tornado warning that continue, Prague, so that's going to be up next. It's kind of heading right toward your direction, and other locations that are, if you're just north of Shawnee and you're north and east of it, this is your heads up as this continues moving on. We'll go to velocity here, take a look. So we'll go to Twin Lakes velocity, there it is, and not a lot. These are moving pretty quickly. We'll go to storm relative velocity. It's not anything super alarming right now. We still want folks in the path of this to treat this with great care and to take your tornado precautions, because each little scan and each little minute that goes by, these things will evolve. They'll come up, they'll come down, they'll evolve. So that still means for Prague, tornado precautions for sure for you, and other areas, even off to the farther east, will want to take your tornado precautions for this. We'll put a time of arrival on this thing here and track it for you. As they're moving about 35 miles per hour. Is that what we're tracking, John, for speed on these?
35, yeah.
Yeah, they're moving about 35. Okay, so there it is, just north of I-40, and that continues with that northeasterly movement, kind of a little bit of an easterly component right there. So there we go. We'll put it about 35 miles per hour. So here's some time of arrival for you. Garden Grove, just about 7 minutes. Centerview, 18 minutes. Prague, under 20 minutes. So we're tracking this about 19 minutes from right now. And the small community of Arlington, about 28 minutes as this moves off to the north and off to the east. So we're watching that very carefully. We'll put some movement on this again. And, it's just not a ton of really tight rotation. When you see the red and the green close together, you know that the storm is really spinning up, and we're not exactly seeing that right now. We're going to go farther off to the south of that storm right now. Severe thunderstorm for Tribby, Macomb. Watching this here, this is all east of I-35. This is east of Lexington. We'll go ahead and kind of switch gears here and put it on reflectivity. So this tells us how much rain is going. It shows us the shape of the storm. And there you go. It's a little bit kind of messy. We're still watching this kind of lead storm near Brooksville and Macomb and Tribby. Let's go to Eric Dixon. He's following this southern storm very carefully. Again, following the same path. It is in a favorable air environment. And that looks like Corey Inman's shot. If we have Eric Dixon, we can go to him. Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm over here on Highway 39. That's going to be just to the north, Waynette. Here, that's that storm that just crossed I-35, but it's right over by the Rosedale area. Just kind of scanning the skies and see if this new southern storm's kind of a little bit of free air over there. So maybe it can tap in a little bit to that boundary. So it bears watching here. So it's kind of out by its own, just a little bit over there. So nothing ominous over there as of yet, but I'm in a good position to see if anything develops in this area, and we'll keep you forewarned on that. Aaron?
Okay, appreciate that. Eric Dixon watching very carefully. Waunette, Highway 39. He's just off to the south of that complex of storms that will continue moving off to the north and east. And again, it's in a pretty favorable environment today, anywhere south and east of Oklahoma City. Emily, go ahead.
All right, yeah, we continue our team coverage as we have many meteorologists keeping eyes on the storms. And if you're just tuning in, want to give a broad view, we have a tornado watch that has been issued for portions of eastern, southern, and central Oklahoma all the way until 6 p.m. So nearly 7-hour tornado watch. And that's because the threat will remain. I'm sure this will taper, though, as the day continues because the storms are eventually going to be pushing south and east. But for right now, they are interacting with that boundary. The boundary is just south of us. Oh, let's go to Corey Inman right now. He has a pretty solid view of this storm. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, Emily, we're east of Shawnee, headed up towards the Prague area. You're looking right into that little notch there. There is a lowering there. Not seeing anything underneath it, like the wrapping rain curtains or whatever that we had back to the southwest in the Tecumseh-Shawnee area. It's got a pretty flat base, but it is, you can see it evolve trying to wrap around, but every time it does, it gusts out, flattens back out, and then we get a new lowering form. So we're right here in front of it, headed up to Prague. If anything changes, we'll let you know.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, and we noticed the feature you're talking about. It's actually a little bit outside of the polygon where it is wrapping up. And hey, that's a great thing if it's blowing out each time. But our storm trackers are right on top of it. So he is heading towards Prague. It says near Shawnee. He's just east of Shawnee. Shawnee is in the clear now outside of the tornado warning, so you're fine. But this is east of the area. Let's go ahead and jump back to the radar, or if we could double box with Corey's shot, because he has a great shot of this storm. And this is what he was talking about, the little notch, the little appendage. That's what we look for in reflectivity. And then I switch over to velocity, and that's where we look for a couplet, right, for whether it's rotation. There's also, this is not tornadic at this time, but this is kind of bowing out a little bit near Tecumseh, so a little bit of a little feature to watch there as well. You can see the small, this is a very broad area of circulation. It does not look very impressive on radar, but you can clearly see from the shot the pronounced lowering. It has blown out a little bit, but definitely a pronounced lowering. It's just a question as to whether or not it is going to tighten up quite a bit. Farther south, it's a little bit more favorable storm environment. It's warmer here. We have higher dew points, so you have the moisture surging in as well, aka storm fuel. There's the big broad circulation by Tecumseh. Farther south, we're keeping an eye on this tornado warning, and this is still going strong. So south of Tatum's, you can see where the red and the green meet, the yin and the yang. That is representing winds going towards and away from the radar. And this is where we keep an eye as a meteorologist of where there's potential circulation. When these things tighten up, there can be a tornado on the ground. So it's a little bit farther away from radar, so we're looking higher up in the storm. So it is a little bit more challenging to see what's going on at lower levels, but we are keeping a close eye on this. You can still see that little notch feature south of the town of Tatum. So Tatum's, I would get in your safe spot immediately. This is going to be lifting northeast and eventually traveling south of Pauls Valley. So this will be crossing I-35, busy thoroughfare. John was talking about you have to watch out for some of these big interstates heavily traveled by people who are not from the area. And so this is a little bit concerning as it is a tornado warning is going to be crossing. I know we have Eric Dixon. He's traveling around the area. What's your exact location? What can you tell us?
So, hey, Emily, I'm near Winnett. I'm going to reposition to the south towards that tornado warning of get over towards the Pauls Valley area. Kind of look at it from the east there, as these, like you were saying, these kind of are breathing on their own down there. They got a lot more warm air, so they bear watching. So I'm repositioning down to the south here, so I'll be passing through Winnett here shortly, and we'll get back to you. Emily?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. And we are tracking the latest on these storms. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Lincoln, Potawatomi, and Seminole. So we are watching very closely at that severe storm. So the core, yep, the southern one, yep, it's starting to intensify a little bit. The one over Tecumseh and Shawnee right now. Yeah, so we were watching still broader circulation, but it's definitely pulsing up, and I definitely could see a hail core. So wider view, there's our tornado watch until 6 p.m. Right now we are tracking the storms on the edge of the boundary that are giving a little bit of low-level spin, occasionally allowing for these brief spin-ups. Still watching this slight notch northwest of Prague, but it's looking less and less impressive. This one is pulsing up, so Shawnee, you're out of the tornado warning. However, this hail core is pulsing up over Shawnee, and we could be looking at least quarter-size hail, perhaps 60-mile-per-hour winds as well. And there is a little bit of a new notch forming northeast of Tecumseh, southeast of Shawnee. So this is why the new severe thunderstorm warning has been drafted to account for this new area. So that storm that Corey Inman's on is kind of blowing out at this time, where we had the previous tornado warning. But look how this is really starting to pulse up. Looks like there's a little bit of a circulation perhaps blowing out on the outer edge of this. There are two areas. One where we probably have that hail core south of Shawnee right now. And it looks like there's another one trying to shape up west of Earlsboro. So we're keeping an eye on that. And this can happen rapidly, where you have these brief areas of circulation, they tighten up. So this is going to be racing off to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour, if not a little bit stronger. Farther south, we're still tracking this area of circulation south of Tatum's. That's going to be lifting northeast, eventually passing south of Wynnewood, crossing I-35 in between Wynnewood and Davis. And that would be within the next 30 to 45 minutes. So keeping a close eye on that one, as well as this has been a pretty persistent circulation in southwestern Oklahoma. So wider view, we have the two tornado warnings. The northern one has significantly weakened. Now we're eyeing the storm just south of it, Shawnee. Now looking at a hail core passing through, and we have some heavy rain off to the west. Let's go back out to Corey Inman, who's in that area. Corey, it looks like that storm to the southwest is really starting to pulse up.
Yeah, the area that you were talking about moving up towards the Prague area, like you said, that's really just kind of blown out, and we were taking some northwest winds there as we approached I-40, which, that means outflow dominant, so they should be in pretty good shape as this heads up towards the Prague area. Keeping an eye on the area back to our southwest. We're here on I-40 getting ready to get off here in the Earlsboro, Seminole area, and just kind of drop back to the south and get in position for that one, Emily. I've got the camera pointed back to the west-southwest, and haven't really been able to make out any kind of lowering or anything back there just yet. But like I said, the stuff moving into Prague is pretty well gusted out and is all outflow dominant right now. Back to you.
Okay, yes, and they've switched that over to a severe thunderstorm warning, but that one to the south is starting to get a notch on it, northwest of Earlsboro, so that's what we're keeping a close eye on. I thought it was a hail core pulsing up over Shawnee, but further analysis, at least on our hail tracker, it's not looking too impressive, so I do think that could be a circulation kind of tightening up. I'm going to switch over to velocity. So this is now a severe thunderstorm. So the storm that was previously tornadic coming out of Johnson towards Prague kind of blew itself out, and on the northern end, a new area of circulation formed, and that's located just south of Sparks, lifting off to the north and east. And then we're tracking over Shawnee, this area of circulation that's lifting northeast. So a few areas we're watching as well. And we cannot ignore this persistent circulation. It's actually strengthening east of Tatum's. And it hasn't been moving as fast. And it's moving a little bit more east-northeast. This is pulsing up. John, are you seeing this on velocity?
Yeah.
It's definitely pulsing up south of Elmore City. And I don't like seeing the current track because it looks like it's trying to strengthen and almost occlude a little bit farther north. So it could be heading eventually towards Elmore City, but if it keeps a northeasterly track, it's going to be heading towards Wynnewood. Now, the problem with this is it's a little bit farther from radar, so we're getting a view a little bit higher up in the storm. We can't see what's happening at the surface, but when you see those winds peaking like that, that's an indication of a strengthening circulation. This is probably the strongest storm in the state right now as it's moving off to the northeast. I want to switch over to John real quick on links. He can maybe take a look at the shear.
Yeah, we can go down there into the southwestern areas. Here we go. There's Garvin County, Pauls Valley, Wynnewood. Storm is just to your south and west. The circulation is still, well, it looks like it's on the Carter County, Garvin County line right now. So you can see the little kink right there. That's the circulation. We have a tornado warning for this cell. Okay, we have a tornado warning. So we got a tornado warning for Garvin County, all right, going through 11:45. You folks in Garvin County under a tornado warning. Circulation is basically on the Carter County, Garvin County line right now, moving northeast at 35 towards Katy. All right, that's a tornado warning for Garvin County. Also, northern Carter County, tornado warning for 11:45, and far northwestern Murray County under a tornado warning until 11:45. So you folks in those areas, go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now. Your tornado safe spot, you know where that is, right? Take it right now. There's the circulation areas just going basically from Carter County into Garvin County, moving right towards Katy, northeast at about 35 miles per hour. I can go look at the shear. It might not be as good looking because we're pretty far away, but as I look at the storm relative, you can see a little bit of shear with that, no doubt about it. Right there, just southwest of Katy. So, Henpen over towards the Katy area, Carver, really northeast of Carver. It's moving right towards Katy, moving northeast at about 45 miles per hour.
Track on Max 3 if you want.
All right, let's go over to Max 3 and look at the track. Go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of moving a little bit more northeast now, it looks like. So we're going to be moving into Katy at 10:33 a.m. and at Brady 10:41, Wynnewood at 10:51, Pauls Valley at 10:53. And so it will be crossing I-35. We hate to see that, especially for people that don't know what's going on.
Let's go to Corey.
Let's go to Corey right now. Corey has an update. He's tracking those tornado warning farther north and the severe thunderstorm warning that has ramped up now east of Shawnee. Corey, what's going on?
Yeah, Emily, we're here at Highway 99 and I-40 south of Prague, north of Seminole. Just kind of sitting here waiting on this next little appendage. It should cross I-40 here just in front of us as it tracks up towards the Prague area. Looks like, can't really make it out because of the trees here, but as soon as it comes over the trees here, it looks like we've got a little bit of a lowered area just to the south of I-40. I can tell you it's completely different over here. The sun's shining at 75 degrees and a south wind at about 20 to 25. So as this thing continues to slide northeast, it's going to move into a more favorable environment. You can kind of see there just over the trees. Looks like got a little bit of rotation just over the top of the trees there, looking back to the southwest. But this should cross I-40 right here in front of us and come into the south side of Prague.
I don't think we can drop this.
Okay, thanks for that report. Yeah, and we were just discussing about, so it looks like the tornado warning for Prague will be canceled. That's definitely something we like to see. But we are still, I can't emphasize enough, this circulation northeast of Tatum's is strengthening, and the latest track is going to take it straight into Wynnewood. So this is concerning. Wynnewood's a very highly populated area. It is traveling northeast around 35 to 40 miles per hour. So Wynnewood, you have your warning right now. You have about 10 to 15 minutes to get into your safe spot. This is a strengthening circulation. This is different from the tornado warnings we've been tracking since early this morning. Those are brief, subtle spin-ups along the line. This one is more independent, and it is now moving, a discrete supercell. It is moving into a more favorable environment with warm, moist air. So this is a strengthening storm. This could easily have a tornado on the ground right now, northeast of Tatum's, moving straight to Wynnewood. This is located near the town of Katy, just south of Elmore, moving northeast towards Wynnewood. Tornado likely on the ground or about to be on the ground. So very concerning for this area. You can see the little notch as we switch over to reflectivity northeast of Tatum's. There's that subtle little notch. So it may be challenging to see. You may not be able to go outside and be able to see it readily. But this is moving off to the north and east. Farther north, we're tracking still severe thunderstorms. East of Shawnee, the hail core has pulsed up, at least quarter-size hail, northwest of Prague as well. We still have this line of severe storms moving east, and those two are severe. But farther down the line, this is our one tornado warning that remains in effect. We also have the big tornado watch that goes all the way until 6 p.m. across eastern and southeastern Oklahoma. If we have Eric Dixon, let's go to him real quick, or we could go to Corey Inman, either one, control room. Let's jump to him. All right. One of the trackers. Go ahead. Who is this?
Emily, this is Corey.
Okay.
I'm still at 99 and 40, keeping an eye on this thing as it's still back to the south of I-40 here. You can see the motion in the clouds there. There is a little bit of rotation. That's going to be about I'm going to say about 2 miles south of I-40 and probably 3 or 4 miles to the west of the Highway 99 interchange here. So this thing continues to come right at us. We're just going to sit here and let it come to us and see what happens.
I appreciate that, Corey. This is Aaron Brackett here, kind of doing some tag team coverage. You're doing real well on that, kind of evolving quickly. That is near Prague, watching that. And there's another pretty big hook that's approaching that same area. Let's go over to links 2 and take a look at this. So quickly evolving situation right now. The original rotation circulation that went very near to Shawnee, that has weakened substantially, and it's kind of moved out of the tornado warning box. So that's why that has canceled. So here's Prague. Corey Inman's really close to that. We're getting a little bit more concerned about this next hook that's right here. This is near the small town of Neal. It is off to the north and is about to cross I-40. So what Corey's going to do right here for us is he's going to watch this next hook that's crossing I-40. It's basically moving right toward him, and then he's going to head south to join Eric Dixon for more tornadic thunderstorms that are approaching from southern Oklahoma, moving basically along the same path. So where are those other thunderstorms? Now, Shawnee, this has cleared you, but there is still more on the way. These are following pretty much the same path, and this is what we're concerned about in southern Oklahoma. This is looking, fairly organized. This is a supercell thunderstorm right here. It's looking fairly organized. This is moving right toward Katy. It's basically right over Katy. Elmore City are getting a lot of rain. You're going to get some hail with this as this continues moving on. So again, this is south central Oklahoma, so your heads up for folks in Garvin County, eastern McLean County, very, very heads up for you. Might scoot just off to the east and Murray County and south central parts of the state. So here we go with velocity. There's still some rotation right there. We're going to go storm relative velocity. Basically, this kind of factors in the motion of the storm as it moves quickly off to the north and east and shows us exactly where the rotation is. So right now, the greatest rotation is just basically right over the small community of Katy and just off to the south. It is north of Highway 7. So it has cleared Highway 7. This is a big heads up for the small town of Brady. This is a heads up for Wynnewood. You are not in the tornado warning right now, but if this keeps its strength, that's going to be extended off to the north and northeast. So big heads up for the town of Wynnewood. Folks traveling I-35 south of Pauls Valley, heads up for you. Again, it looks like it's maybe on the last scan, possibly turned a little bit more off to the east, just a little bit. Possibly turned off to the east just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and kind of put a track on this here for you. So we're going to stop the clock. And again, we're tracking the circulation. That's the latest scan. So it is just cleared Katy just off to the east right now, not by very much. That track will take it toward the small town of Joy, toward Wynnewood. Speed about 33 miles per hour. So here's your time of arrival for you. Joy, 15 minutes. Wynnewood, 16 minutes from now. It's 11:31, so that would be about 11:45. And Iona closing in on the noon hour. Again, this is in really favorable air, really favorable atmosphere, unfortunately. And that's why we're on the air. For folks watching in Oklahoma City, we were woken up real early this morning by active tornado warnings. We have a northerly wind. Things have stabilized in Oklahoma City, and the severe weather threat has ended. But this is still an ongoing threat for many folks that live south of Oklahoma City Metro and off to the east as we continue to watch, again, these circulations continue. So this is our active tornado warning right now. Not technically in Wynnewood yet, but I would not be surprised if that does get extended a little bit farther off to the east and northeast. Let's go ahead and talk to Corey Inman. And before we go to him, I want to show you his storm here farther off to the north. So Corey is near I-40. He is north of Shawnee. He's near Prague. The tornado warning for Prague has ended, but there is this other circulation. You can see it right here, right near Garden Grove, that's moving, again, kind of right toward Prague in the same area. Corey Inman's on that. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, Aaron, we're still here at 99 and 40, and you're looking back. That is right into the notch. It is just south of I-40 right now. You can see it's kind of flattened out, and right there above the tree line, it's starting to lower right in that one little area there. Doesn't look like much of a lowering right now, but that is dropped out of there just in the last 30, 45 seconds. So this is, like I said, it's just south, getting ready to cross I-40. It's going to put it coming into the south side of Prague, maybe stay just a little bit to the west of Prague. There is a little bit of rotation in there, but nothing really tight. It's kind of broad, and that one area just continues to lower, Aaron.
Okay, thanks for that. We continue our team coverage. Corey, excellent shot, really telling the story. You can see that wide bowl shaped, and we're looking at the clear shot of the base if anything were to happen. He's right on top of it. This was previously tornado warned. At this time, still looking at severe thunderstorms in the area and 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as quarter-size hail possible out of it. We still have an ongoing flooding threat as well. Here's a wider view. Tornado watch until 6 p.m. That is a very long tornado watch. Notice that the entire Oklahoma City metro is not included. This is great news. Yes, we had severe weather earlier in the morning, but the boundary as a result has been pushed ever so slightly farther south and east. We are on the cool side of the boundary, which means we're in the more stable air mass, which completely squashes our severe weather risk. That is not the case, though, along in south and east of the boundary. These storms are interacting with the boundary right now. It's given a little bit of additional low-level spin, so we've had some subtle circulations northeast. These were pretty short-lived. Not the case for this storm that is pretty close to Wynnewood and near Katy right now. It has a persistent circulation for quite some time now. Heavy rain continues to the west, no severe weather threat here. So we're talking about a main band moving along the I-35 corridor, at least I was this morning, that would move through at around 1. Well, it has sped up. This is it. This is the band moving through right now. It is happening, and it's located a little bit farther east of I-35 because of the boundary shifting that way, and the risk for later today has been adjusted accordingly as well. Let's go ahead and zoom on in to the latest. This is the strongest storm in the state, the tornadic storm. You can see the clear notch. This is a tornadic storm heading southeast of Wynnewood. The sirens are blaring in the town of Wynnewood. Technically not included in the tornado warning yet, but it is in the path. Yes.
From the Weather Service, we just talked about what you're saying. The circulation has kind of moved a little further north, and they're thinking about extending or issuing a new, tornado warning for Pauls Valley and Wynnewood. So there you go.
Okay, thank you. Excellent report, John Slater. Appreciate the breaking update. Yeah, hey, it's been a long one. Shout out to John and Aaron. They were doing long hours early Sunday morning. And you're looking at a live shot from Corey Inman off to the side there. So this is the circulation, guys. It is still going strong. This likely has a tornado on the ground. If it doesn't, it's going to happen shortly. This is located about 1 mile southeast of Elmore City. So this is what John was talking about. Sure enough, a new tornado warning has been issued, and this accounts for the towns of Wynnewood and Pauls Valley. It is going to be traveling towards the town of Wynnewood. Wynnewood's right in line for this circulation. So get in your safe spot. Your sirens are already blaring. Call your loved ones. Let them know. Also very dangerous. The circulation in the next 5 to 10 minutes will be crossing I-35, heavily traveled thoroughfare. Think about the semis that drive through this. Do not want to be caught in a tornadic circulation. Zooming in, this is still holding strong. Northeast of Katy, we haven't had, guys, have we had any ground truth, any reports of the tornado reaching the ground yet? We have not had that confirmed at this time, but this has definitely strengthened, and I don't like the current track taking it straight towards Wynnewood. So we're going to stay with you and keep you forewarned as it heads that way. Farther north, we still have these severe thunderstorm warnings. The strongest part of this storm is located just south of Stroud, moving northeast at a pretty fast clip towards Bristow, 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Remember, when it has the orange box, that just means a tornado is possible with it. Tornado tag. Hail course pulsing up south of Prague. But our main concern at this time is the tornado warning that is heading towards Wynnewood. Let's go to Eric Dixon right now if he's in that area. Eric, go ahead.
An interesting thing that's happening.
Yeah, Emily, I'm approaching that storm that's going to come up through the Wynnewood area. So I will be in the Wynnewood area here shortly. So I'm going south to the southwest with it right now. That camera's pointed right on that storm. I don't see any visible lowerings as of yet. Kind of got a little bit of trees in my way over there, but you can definitely see the upper structure of that storm. It's looking pretty mean over there. It's dark. So I'm pulling into it right now. I'm coming south of Byers here. Going to be pulling into it here shortly. So we'll get back to you on that, but definitely got the stream on it now, so we can kind of keep an eye on it and watch this storm as it progresses. Emily?
Thanks for that report. We're going to hand it off to Aaron. Aaron, go ahead.
All right, appreciate that report. Watching things here, Eric Dixon is basically right in the path of this next storm down the line that continues moving toward the Pauls Valley, Wynnewood area, depending on how it kind of wobbles back and forth. So we're watching that, of course, very carefully here, areas south of Oklahoma City. And also Corey Inman is watching things near the Prague area as we continue to see that thunderstorm kind of get a little bit more disorganized, which is good. So this is what you see on your screen right now. This is the strongest storm, the best organized storm in the state that we have right now. That's, of course, not good, but we continue to see these kind of evolve and move. So there's the circulation right near the small town. It's over the small town of Brady. Here's Wynnewood. It's going to come real close, all right? It's going to come really close to Wynnewood, possibly going just north. In Wynnewood, sirens have been going off. You're now under the tornado warning for good reason. Pauls Valley, heads up. Anyone between Pauls Valley and Wynnewood, tornado precautions, got to take them right now, as there still is some energy and some instability in these areas. We're watching this circulation here. Fairly impressive. It's fairly large and widespread, and that continues moving off to the north and east. So we're going to kind of switch here. I want to show you, we have the debris detector. We've been using that, unfortunately, over the weekend. Not seeing anything. In fact, there might have been a little pulse just east of Katy. That would have been about 11:30. There might have been a little tiny bit, that could be a radar artifact. It could be just a little tiny pulse up. But right now, the circulation is between Brady and Wynnewood, and we're not seeing anything alarming on the debris detector. So that is really good. That is good news. We'll go ahead and take a look at velocity with this. There it is. There's still plenty of spin with this. It's going to be a very close call for Wynnewood. It's about to cross I-35 right now, so that is moving a little bit more east of northeast right now. So that's a little bit of a change. Still fairly impressive radar signature right here. The radar looks fairly impressive, which again, we don't like to see. Kind of show you exactly what's going on. We've got wind coming into this, so that's why you get that little notch on the backside. Here's the spin wrapping around, so that puts the circulation about 4 or 5 miles due west of Wynnewood. It is still west of I-35 by about 2 miles right now, and it continues wrapping up and moving off to the north and east. That is, again, why we have the ongoing tornado warning. That does include Pauls Valley. It includes Byers. It includes Stratford in the tornado warning. Eric Dixon is just south of Byers right now. Let's go back to Eric Dixon. You're kind of looking right into it. There's going to be some rain just off to your west, but it is approaching you. Those skies are looking dark, and of course, folks ahead of this need to take their tornado precautions. Eric.
Definitely here. Got the camera just angled a little bit off to my right just to pick up that storm there. I'll be pulling into Wynnewood here shortly here, so definitely going to be in the path of this. I'll be able to see what's going on. It seems like a recent scan here looks like there's an uptick on that velocity. Would you agree on that, Aaron?
Yes. We're watching this, it's a very dynamic situation here. It continues to evolve, and this is just a big heads up for Byers, for Stratford, for Rosedale, even if it continues moving off to the north. And Eric, are you getting what are your winds right now? Ahead of it, they should likely be out of the south and east. That's still a favorable environment. Go ahead.
You know, I'm looking at these trees in this area, just really any wind movement. It's actually a little bit calm looking. I'm not seeing too much wind movement. Of course, I'm a little bit north of that storm right now, so I'm not sure what that winds are that are feeding into it. But hopping on Highway 19, going to head west here down to where I should be like right in front of it to be able to see exactly what's in there here shortly. But definitely the skies are getting very dark off to the west here from my location. I'm Highway 19. It looks like it's saying I'm about 7 miles from the Pauls Valley area right now. So we're going to be pulling into this and see what's going on here.
Yeah, Eric, that's a good move going a little bit farther off to the south. You're going to have a good road network there as well. And watch as he turns. You can see the darkness. Look at the low-hanging clouds right here. Some of this is going to be, especially on the north side of the storm, winds gusting out in some areas. But again, this is going to kind of wrap up into that circulation that is now crossing I-35 near Wynnewood. So I-35 near the Wynnewood area. It is crossing I-35 right now. Folks heading that way, traveling near that way, need to be in shelter and need to be off the roads. There he goes off to the west, so tracking this off to the south near Wynnewood. Let's come back to Lynx 2 right now and take a look at where the storm is. Tornado warning ongoing. So it is cleared Katy. It has cleared Brady. Here's Wynnewood. Again, very, very close to the circulation. Pauls Valley. It is moving your direction. It is moving your direction. Eric Dixon is only a couple minutes from Pauls Valley. Here's the open kind of hook right here. It's got some rain on the south side. It's not completely by itself, so we're watching that very carefully. But again, this is a heads up for Pauls Valley. Only a couple minutes away. Wynnewood, you're going to get some at least straight line winds, 60, 70 miles per hour, the same as a weak tornado. So take your tornado precautions away from windows, interior room, or a bathroom is good if you do not have underground shelter. And then a heads up down the line for Byers and Rosedale as this continues to kind of wobble slowly back and forth off to the north. Emily.
Thanks for that team coverage, Aaron, and very good points there. The big difference with this storm today is this circulation is holding strong, okay? The other circulations, they were very brief along a line. I mean, still tornado warning, you have to be cautious, but this one has been a strong circulation moving off to the east-northeast, keeping a very close eye. Watch continues, tornado watch for parts of eastern and mainly southeastern Oklahoma until 6 p.m. This is the next final main band we've been talking about. It's happening a little bit earlier than forecast by about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours ahead of schedule here. And it's lighting up along the boundary, and it will continue to flourish as it moves south and east. Let's go ahead and zoom on in. This is the most potent circulation at this time, and it's crossing the heavily traveled I-35. We hate to see that because oftentimes there are people coming up from Texas, right? And they don't know what's going on. They're driving straight into a tornadic circulation. Sometimes I know Highway Patrol does a good job of closing off the interstate before that happens, but scary sight to see. The latest is that the polygon has been updated. So we had the previous one up through Pauls Valley. It is now veered a little bit more off to the east. So zooming in a little bit closer here, we still have this notch. The little notch is located northwest of Wynnewood. This is where the main circulation is crossing 177 right now, crossing 77, moving off to the east-northeast, and then, heading towards 177. It's crossing 77 south of Pauls Valley right now. This is where we have our storm tracker, Eric Dixon, who's right by the area of circulation. Eric, go ahead and tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm fixing to turn a little bit more south here. I'm kind of going towards the southwest, towards Pauls Valley here. I'm on Highway 19 on that southwest highway here, just north east of town here. Not seeing any visible wall cloud as of yet. I got a lot of trees in my way here. Here shortly, I'm probably going to have to turn around here momentarily. I'm going to try to get down there and get a view of it and see what's going on, but I'm going to kind of run out of road with this storm. So I don't want it to pass me here. So I'm going to watch it really closely here, but I may have to jog back to the northeast here and get back on 19 and blast east with this. But it definitely looks like a few of those scans, I wouldn't doubt that maybe have some intermittent touchdowns in there, and it's going to be kind of wrapped in some rain back in there. It's going to be hard to see. But I'm coming out of these trees here in just a second, see if I can look to the south here momentarily, see if I can get a view of it. Emily?
Okay, thanks for that report. Yeah, we are looking at the circulation right now. It's located just south of Pauls Valley. I'd say by about 1.5 to 2 miles south of Pauls Valley, southeast at this time. And the latest track is taking it more to the east-northeast. It is moving pretty fast at about 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to update that track right now. Let me pause it. There we go. This is the current circulation moving east-northeast. So that's going to be taking it into Oakdale School at 11:56 a.m., Stratford at 12:07, and McGee at 12:09, based off of the current track. So that's what we're watching. Again, wider view showing the line of storm. See how it's becoming more of a line, pushing south and east. We've been saying this, it's moving into a more favorable environment in southeastern Oklahoma, kind of untapped environment from the morning storms, and we have warm, moist air spreading north. I can show you that coming up. But you can see this line. Look at that little notch here, that little hook feature. This has been holding on. This has been the longest tornado warning we have seen all morning long. Most of them are brief spin-ups. We've had more of the QLCS in nature type of storms going up earlier this morning. That was the rude awakening for the Oklahoma City Metro around 6 a.m. This is a different kind of scenario. This is holding tight. It has that warm air, warm moist air to feed into, and as it travels more to the east-northeast, it's going to hold on as it heads towards Stratford. So we may be looking at a persistent tornado warning. If it hasn't dropped a tornado yet, it will likely soon, as this has been a pretty tight circulation located about 1.5 miles southeast of Pauls Valley, and it's going to be traveling east eventually, I'd say just south of Stratford at its current track, unless it veers a little bit more north or it could veer a little bit farther to the east. But we'll be keeping a very close look on that. But if I live in Stratford, I would be getting ready to get in your safe spot right now. Just go ahead and get in your safe spot right now. Aaron was talking about that. The best place to go is in a certified storm shelter or in the lowest part of your home away from windows, because flying debris is the biggest issue with tornadoes. All right, moving up the line, we're still tracking a couple of severe storms near Johnson and not looking as ferocious as earlier. These are a bit stronger as you travel north, east of Stroud, heading into Bristow and into Manford, where we could have some hail with it, up to quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. But the strongest storm in the state by far is the tornado off to the south right now, and that is heading towards Stratford. So I was talking about a more favorable environment. Notice for Oklahoma City, we have rain-cooled air. All you have to do is step outside, and it's cool. We have a north breeze. That is a good thing. That is completely lowering our severe weather risk. Earlier, we thought the front would be draped right across Oklahoma City, and that's no longer the case. Very warm air to the south and east. It's still heating up. So we're in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Contrast that to the 40s and 50s northwest. And I want to point out the dew points, the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. This was a big issue with the overnight tornadoes that we had early Sunday morning. Dew points surging into the low 70s here. So out ahead of it, we have the warmth, we have the moisture. In other words, we have the storm fuel available, and with this upper level storm approaching, that continues to add some spin in the atmosphere, especially when these storms are interacting with the boundary, gives a little bit of additional low level spin, or shear as we call it. So winds breezy out of the south. Here's the front. It is draped just south of Oklahoma City. So the risk has been adjusted. The enhanced risk is farther south and east, and this is our main concern throughout the rest of the day. Eventually these storms, that line we're tracking right now, is going to march off to the south and east and probably continue to produce tornadoes because it's moving into a more favorable environment. So we're not done yet, but the good news is once this moves out, we are going to be looking at nice calm weather just in time for Election Day, something to look forward to. All right, let's go to John Slater for the latest.
Okay.
John.
Hey, let's zoom in with the one tornadic supercell we have ongoing right now. This is the only game in town right now. Into Garvin County we go. Right, tornado warnings here. You need to be taking your tornado precautions right now if you're in the path of this storm. So the circulation is north of Wynnewood, just southeast of Pauls Valley. Yes, Aaron.
Just kind of, you're doing fantastic with that map, but I just want to let folks know, weak tornado reported ongoing on the west side of Wynnewood. That's a report coming in from a spotter. So
right. Well, let's see. Let's see about the weak.
Was that just from before? Because it's
I wonder if it was a little delayed.
a little delayed from
I don't know. We need to look into that. But yeah, that might be delayed looking at radar. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
The circulation, again, it's north and east of Wynnewood and just east of Pauls Valley. It's approaching areas west of Stratford on Highway 19, which I've been around many times before, taking that to Ada and up towards Bing. All right. So this is the tornado warning right now. If you live anywhere around Stratford, McGee, along Highway 19, just north and south of Highway 19, east of Pauls Valley. Take your tornado precautions right now. A pretty significant rotation. Let's go to Eric Dixon right now. Can we go to Eric? Eric, are you there?
Hey, John, I'm on just to the northeast of Pauls Valley, Highway 19. I'm looking due to the east, okay? So getting a little bit of some rain curtains back in here. The clouds are going from south to north. So the circulation should pass just right from my right to my left, right in this area, like right in front of me. I've got the lens at a wide open angle here. I'm pretty close to it. I've just got about a minute here or so that I'm going to have to change locations and head back up northeast on 19. But I'm kind of a little bit behind it here, and I'm in a good spot kind of on an owner's land up here just to kind of get up on a hill to see this thing. But I'm becoming inundated with some heavy rain in here, but I'm seeing a lot of clouds that are racing to the north, and I was seeing some rain bands back in there. It looked like they were kind of trying to wrap around. So I'm really close to it here, but I don't see anything on the ground at the moment. John?
All right, Eric, what direction are you looking at right now? Which way?
John, I'm looking kind of to my southwest.
Okay. Are you on Highway 19?
Southeast.
Are you on Highway 19?
I'm on Highway 19.
Looking southwest.
Yes.
Okay. Is that the rain-free base?
Sorry. No. Southeast. Looking southeast.
Okay, you're looking southeast. How far from Stratford are you?
I'm going to estimate probably 10 miles to the west.
All right, you gotta go back east. Okay, you need to turn around and go back east. That's the storm. That's the rain-free base off to your south and southeast. Okay, so you want to try to stay with that. That's a nice shot. Appreciate that shot. Be safe. I would go east and try to track that towards the Stratford area. Nice shot there, Eric, and be safe. Let's go back over to Links 1, and then I'll toss it back to Emily here. I just want to show you where that circulation is. Now, Eric's right here. He's west of Stratford on Highway 19, if you can see my cursor right there. And the circulation is moving.
Changing purple on there now. That's because there's a confirmed tornado that happened.
All right. Confirmed tornado right here. So it's not far from Eric. Eric, are you listening? We have a confirmed tornado. A confirmed tornado with that storm.
I'm going to... Yes, I'm on 19, so I'm going to be heading northeast from Paul's Valley. I'm 19, going to heading northeast from Paul's Valley, and I'll be heading east momentarily.
Okay, that's a great job there, Eric. Really appreciate that. Again, a possible tornado on the ground with this storm now, just south of Highway 19 to the west of Stratford, moving east-northeast at about 35. Please, if you're in the path of this storm, you should be taking your tornado precautions right now. Lowest level, center part of a small interior room. Put something over your head like a blanket or some pillows. Most times when people are injured by tornadoes, it's the debris that gets picked up that hits you. So you want to protect yourself from flying objects and things like that. So tornado warning, Stratford. This is eastern Garvin County. So it's east of Pauls Valley, northeast of Wynnewood. You're in the clear there right now. But this circulation is going right towards Stratford, might go just north of there, and it's going to head towards western sections of Pontotoc County. So you folks to the west-northwest of Ada, heads up, take your tornado precautions. Emily?
Excellent analysis. This is why I love being able to do this with my fellow meteorologists here, John Slater, Aaron Brackett, because we all have our eyes on the radar, and it's been one of those days testing our meteorological knowledge because some of these have just been on the fly. This tornado warning is different. This has been ongoing for, I'll have to check how long now, probably 20, 30 minutes at least, and there's a tornado watch that remains in effect for the eastern half of the state. Notice that the Oklahoma City metro is excluded. Initially, we thought this wave would be coming in closer to about 1 p.m. along the I-35 corridor. Well, everything shifted farther south and east thanks to the boundary being pushed a little bit farther south and east, likely due to all the rain and storms that we had earlier this morning. So that's a good thing. Oklahoma City, not worried about it. We are concerned, though, about this storm. There was a brief tornado confirmed west of Wynnewood earlier. And so these polygons, notice how they changed colors? They're purple now. Just informing you what this means. That means it's purple when there was a confirmed tornado. Before, it was just radar indicated. Now it's confirmed. Granted, it was a weak tornado, but it did pass through western parts of Wynnewood. We'll have to wait and see if there are any reports of any damage, any debris from that area, but ongoing tornado. And that was from, you see how there's a little hook area here. So it's wrapped up into the storm. What that means is you're not going to be able to see it going outside, which hopefully you're not outside anyways. You want to get in your safe spot. But switching over to our velocity, we're watching, there's a couple of areas we're watching here. We had the circulation that passed through Wynnewood, pretty weak. We were mainly focusing on this area of circulation coming out of just south of Pauls Valley, lifting northeast. So there's kind of two areas of concern, and that's why there's these two polygons. So this circulation is still present. It's a lot broader. It is moving northwest of Stratford, and it's going to continue off to the north and east. So we have those two areas, the smaller one that actually had a brief confirmed tornado through Wynnewood, and then the one north of this that continues, that'll be moving just north of Stratford, south of Byers. It's a about 2 miles south of Byers at this time, this area of circulation. So we're watching those two regions right now, and that's why there's two polygons. Moving farther north, we're still tracking this severe thunderstorm over Prague that is significantly weakened. These are a little bit stronger traveling north up through Bristow into Manford, and then all areas west of that, you don't have to worry about any severe weather. That is just plain old rain. We still are concerned about a flooding risk as well. Here's a wider view. You can see this long line of storms shaping up. This is what we are expecting into the afternoon hours. It's going to continue to push east into an area where we have very warm air, a lot of moisture present. Look at the temperature differential. This is the boundary, okay? So northwest of it, squashing severe weather potential. South and east of it, we're talking about Ada, Ardmore, Durant, McAllister. You are next in line to see these storms. As they push east, this is a favorable environment. It's only going to get more favorable as the day progresses. We have our main upper level storm arriving, and look at these dew points surging into the low 70s. What does that matter? Well, talk about storm fuel. That's one of the many ingredients. Warmth, moisture, and then you need spin in the atmosphere. We have that with that storm arriving, and we also have it with any storms interacting with the boundary. And that's where you can see the wind differentials just south and east of Oklahoma City, traveling down, and these storms have been developing along the boundary and then kind of moving along the boundary north. It's a little bit less favorable as you travel north. That's why the enhanced risk is pushed south and east. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the slight risk is tapered back as well a little bit more. But large-hail damaging winds and tornadoes will be possible. So you're looking at a wider view. Let's jump right now to Eric Dixon, who's by that tornado-warned storm. Eric, what can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm on Highway 19 right now. I'm going east with it. That circulation looks like the last scan I had it just right in front of me here. So I'm probably about 10 miles to the west of Stratford now. If there's going to be a tornado on the ground, I'm looking for power flashes back in there, but it's straight ahead of me. Probably maybe a mile, looking for those power flashes. I don't see any wall clouds in that area. We've got a lot of torrential rain, a little bit of hail in here, a lot of flooding starting to take place in this area here. But I'm on Highway 19 again, moving east with it. I'm just to the west of Stratford here. I'm starting to see a little bit more defined structure up here. So getting a little closer to it here, probably, maybe half a mile-ish. The thing's hauling pretty fast here, so got to keep up with it here. But I was trying to get a good view there. That view I had before was looking to the southeast when I was on Highway 19, that northeast highway there coming out. I was looking to the southeast right at that base there, and I had a lot of streaming clouds that were coming into that rotation there. So I'm right here moving east with it on Highway 19. Emily?
Yeah. Okay, we appreciate that. Please stay safe. We want you to stay safe first and foremost, as you are a little bit close to the core right now. All right, let's jump to it, take another view real quick, and then Aaron can jump up. So zooming in, you can see the confirmed tornado warnings. I'm letting people know what these colors mean because this is kind of newer, but the purple means it's confirmed, okay? So earlier it was just radar indicated. We thought, there could be a tornado, or there likely is at any moment, but we need that ground truth. That's why there are storm chasers. That's why there's storm spotters. And this is from a very credible storm spotter from the Storm Prediction Center that actually witnessed a tornado just west of Wynnewood. So that is a weak tornado that did occur, and that's why this has changed to purple. And the thing about this one is it was embedded within the main line. So one of those more subtle circulations, and therefore a very weak tornado, but still a tornado nonetheless. And so we're tracking that area, which has kind of blown out a little bit. By that, I mean it's becoming a little bit more outflow dominant. But we still have this little circulation, this little subtle circulation off to the northeast of Wynnewood. It's still holding on, this little couplet that's going to be veering off to the east, eventually crossing 177. But to the north, this is still a strong circulation, albeit a little bit broader, but still strong circulation south of Byers. And this is moving north of Stratford. It's about 1 mile south of Byers, about 2 or 3 miles northwest of Stratford. It is going to be traveling north of Stratford at this point, just south of Byers. Both towns, though, I'd go ahead and get in your safe spot. But this is going to be traveling in between the towns off to the east, northeast Farther north, we have that heavy rain over Prague. That is not severe, and still some severe thunderstorms up this line. Let's go out to Corey Inman right now. He was tracking these previously severe storms off to the north. I know he's repositioning at this time. Corey, what can you tell us?
So Eric needs to go north.
Okay, we'll check back in with Corey in a second. Let's go to Aaron Brackett for team coverage. And Aaron, we are still tracking this. It's mainly that one tornado warning, technically divided up into those two areas of circulation, but that one tornado warning that's persistent.
Yeah, we are going to watch that here. And of course, folks, it's 12:02 right now. Usually you're turning in to watch News 4 at noon. We want you to know that, well, today the big news story is the weather, as it has been really over the weekend, and it continues now with active tornado warnings in our viewing area. If we could maybe do a little sky cam round robin, we'll talk about just briefly here the weather that we have in central Oklahoma. So you can see that we have some sprinkles and showers right here, also some moving into western Canadian County. This is all not severe. So we want to let folks know that. This is Woodward right here. It's cloudy. It is cool. There's a northwesterly wind that's coming in. And also, we've seen some peaks of sunshine in central Oklahoma. And here it is. Look at this. Right over Oklahoma City. There is some blue sky right now. So briefly, we've got some less unstable air that's moved in. This has cleared out the severe weather risk for the Oklahoma City metro. That is good. A lot of us woke up to those emergency alerts for tornado activity earlier this morning. Here's another look right here. As we can see, some areas with the thick cloud cover, a little bit of drizzle and rain, and some areas of sunshine all across the area. So we'll go back to links 2 and let you know this again is why the weather is the news story right now as we begin the noon show. And here it is. So the purple, as Emily was saying, we've gone from red to purple. That means that was an observed tornado. It spun up briefly just off to the west of Wynnewood. So this was actually a National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center employee that is out there. You can see that donut hole that moved just off to the north and east of Wynnewood. So it does continue now moving rapidly, moving about 40 miles per hour, approaching Stratford right here. And we'll go ahead and take a look. Let's kind of change it to right now. And we'll go ahead and look at the storm track. So here it is. It's going to be moving toward Byers. Really close to Byers, probably about the next couple minutes, really, over toward Asher, 20 minutes, and over toward Kanawha in 27 minutes. You can see right here, there's shear. That's the spin in this thing, over 80 miles per hour. So even if there's no tornado, you could get winds 70, 80 miles per hour on the ground. There is some hail, but not real big hail, about an inch-sized hail, so quarter-sized hail. Moving northeast now at 45 miles per hour. So it has accelerated even more. We'll go to Eric Dixon in just a second, but that's where it is. Continuing with the tornado warning. Stratford is in the tornado warning. It has cleared Wynnewood, so the severe threat in Wynnewood has ended. Byers, there is some circulation wrapping up right here. Small community of McGee and Chisholm. Highway 177 right here under the gun. Let's go over to Eric Dixon. Eric, go ahead.
They're going to reissue the...
Yeah, Aaron, I am just directly south of that circulation. I'm fixing to pull into Stratford here, but if you were to put me right on that circulation, right on the highway, Highway 19, that is exactly where I'm at. And it looks like it tried to spin up just a little bit there on the velocity here, so I'm about to go north from Stratford here, try to intersect it again here, but it's definitely hauling up there. It's probably doing about 40 miles an hour here, and I'm in some blinding rain. That rain is actually coming right back at me, kind of in this little northern edge of this gust front. It's kind of spiraling back into me right now, so I'm definitely getting a blinding rain. But I'm looking, got the camera peeled off right into the area where that circulation would be. So if there's any power flashes, we're going to be able to see it in this area. I'm right on it here, so I'm going to go through Stratford. I'm going to head north with it, and we'll kind of keep an eye on this. Aaron?
All right, appreciate that. Yeah, you're getting lots of rain, and here's the thing. These have accelerated. They were moving about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Now they're moving about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So that's really a heads up for folks that are in a tornado-warned area. It's going to come at you very quickly. So right near Stratford, near Chisholm, we'll go to Corey Inman in just a second. He's in Kanawha, so we're going to go to him in just a second so we can get ready for that. But again, this is moving quite rapidly off to the north and east. There's several little areas of circulation. We'll go ahead and take a look here at the most intense. So we'll check out velocity. Yep, there it is. So this is going to be right near it's going to be north of Stratford right now. So it's just east of Byers. It's going to be north of Stratford. So there's the spin right there. Right there. It's going to be heading toward the small community of Maxwell and then Kanawha. It's kind of making a beeline right toward Kanawha. So heads up there. Let's go to Corey Inman. He's in Kanawha. He's right in perfect position. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, coming through Conoway now. As soon as we get on the west side of town here, we'll be able to get a visual. Could start to see that area of rotation before we got down here in the hills and the trees. So give us just a few minutes to get through the town of Conoway, and we'll have a clear view of it.
Okay, appreciate that. For folks wondering exactly where this is, it's extreme eastern parts of McLean County. It is about to cross the river right now. So it's about to cross the river. The new tornado warning has been extended. So here's the area of rotation. About to cross Highway 177. It is just about to cross it. So this is McLean County here. It is in the far, we call it the kind of panhandle of McLean County, in the far eastern area right there. So it is making a beeline toward Conoway, small town of Maxwell, Conoway. It's moving that direction. So we'll kind of see where it is right now. That's a 15-minute animation. Tornado warning now extended into Pot County until 12:45 p.m. So you can see this is the area of spin. It's a fairly narrow tornado warning. We're following this as it moves off to the north and east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. If it continues on, town of Wolf right here, Bowlegs, it's going to go south of Seminole for now. We're getting more of a northerly wind. We have a northerly wind right now in Shawnee, northwesterly wind, so that is good. Anyone with a northwesterly wind, the severe weather threat has ended. This is kind of riding that boundary, though. It still has favorable air out ahead of it as it continues moving off to the north and east. So again, tornado warning continues now into southern and central Pottawatomie County, and it is in far eastern parts of McLean County right now, continuing to move on. We'll go ahead and kind of animate this again here. This is velocity, so this tells us how the winds are moving in a tornadic situation. Yeah, this is, it's definitely there. It's definitely there. So there it is. Really close to the town of Chisholm, Highway 177. It is crossing 177 in far eastern McLean County, about to cross into Pontotoc and southern parts of Pottawatomie County, kind of right there at the intersection, about 3 minutes away from crossing into the river. We'll go to meteorologist Emily Sutton here, who's standing by, and you know, it kind of ebbs and flows up and down. We're seeing that pretty much all morning now into the afternoon.
Yeah, we have been. And earlier this morning, it was a rude awakening. Our first tornado warning happened at around 4 a.m. in southwestern Oklahoma. And then we had the storm in the West Metro that had a tornado warning, woke a lot of people up around 6 o'clock. And then we had a tornado warning that was heading a little bit towards Stillwater. The reason why OSU classes were canceled today, a lot of schools were canceled because of the timing of this. I will tell you, though, the Oklahoma City threat down because the front is south and east, and so it's as simple as this. If it's cloudy, cool, and a north breeze, don't have to worry about it. Not the case for the tornado watch that remains in effect until 6 p.m. in the green. That's for eastern and mainly southeastern Oklahoma. And we have our persistent tornado warning. This has been ongoing for an hour now, I think, at least. Time's flying. And this is the main area we're concerned about. South of Winnett, north of Stratford, heading towards Conoway. The purple polygon is from a confirmed tornado, a very weak one that was west of Wynnewood. Moving to the north, we are tracking this little appendage that is wrapping in. I want to switch over to velocity. This is still a powerful circulation. It's going to be located a few miles northeast of Byers, about 3 miles south of Asher, crossing Highway 177. Let's go out to Eric Dixon, who is tracking this area. Eric, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Emily, I'm on 177 right now, north of Stratford. I'm approximately 1 mile just right there on it. I mean, I could be like right on it, but I'm looking up here. Don't see any real definition of any clouds, any wall clouds. It's heavily rain-wrapped in that area. I'm looking for any rain bands that's trying to move into it. It's hard to tell. Definitely a lot of flooding. The fields out here are inundated here. It's definitely going to be some flash flooding out here. I don't see anything. I'm starting to get into a little bit more of a clearing here. I'm looking up. I see just a slight hint of some rotation right here above me, just barely. That looks like that thing's crossing the highway here, just ahead of me here. Don't see anything yet. Looks like we got a little bit of just minor tree damage, just little twigs on the road here. As I was just north of town, like where that wind might have crossed the road. Doesn't look like a tornado across the road, but there's a few small limbs that are on the road. So kind of take note of that. That may have just recently happened here. I'm getting a little bit more of a clearing here. Got some clouds that seem to be moving a little bit more to the east from my location. I've got 63 degrees right here on 177, just north of Stratford. We're keeping an eye on it.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, you just need to keep traveling, and eventually you'll see it if you keep traveling north. He's on 177, John.
Yeah,
John's keeping track of it.
He's got to go across the river. There's only one way to get over that river, so it's going to.
He's got to go to Asher.
Yeah, he's got to beat it across, and I don't know if he's going to do that.
Okay. Well, we will be keeping up with him. Yep. Let's go back to Max 3 and take a look at the latest. So we were looking at the hook, so to speak, and it's kind of wrapping in south of Asher right now. We still have this prominent circulation. It looks like it's trying to recycle a little bit or almost split. So it's moving north. The main area is dominating along Highway 77 just south of Asher right now. That is the main area of circulation. It's right near the town of Chisholm. And so the circulation is right over the town of Chisholm right now. And then it's going to be moving off to the north and east. I went ahead and put a track on it. It's moving pretty fast at around 40 miles per hour. So this will be moving into Asher at 1221, into Kanawha at 1229, into Maud at 1239, and into Seminole at 1252. If it holds together at that point, and this one has been holding together. This is the longest tornado-warned storm that we've had all morning long. Farther south, we still have a circulation northeast of Wynnewood. This is the confirmed tornado. There was a confirmed weak tornado west of Wynnewood, and sure enough, we are still seeing the area of circulation. It's more out in the country. It's about 3 or 4 miles northeast of Wynnewood. This is also about to cross Highway 177, and this is going to cross, well, it looks like it's veering a little bit more farther northeast at this time versus an easterly track. So it's also going to be moving just south of the town of Stratford. So a secondary tornadic circulation is heading your way. The hail core is pulsing down a little bit with that storm farther north. We're still tracking severe thunderstorms on the northern edge of this line, and behind it, any areas west of this line, you're good to go, and that includes Oklahoma City Metro. Now, still have to watch for a little bit of localized flooding. We have showers moving through Kingfisher and heading through Enid. But look at the temperatures. This tells the story. We're in the 50s and 60s. That's going to squash severe weather potential because it's stabilizing the atmosphere. South and east, we have temperatures still surging to the upper 70s and low 80s. That's upping the instability or storm fuel. Same thing. The moisture streaming in as well in the low 70s. And winds out of the south. If you have winds out of the south, you still have the severe weather risk. Winds out of the north, you are out of it. Now, this is brand new. It's being tapered. Actually, this one is not updated by the Storm Prediction Center yet. But the National Weather Service, I saw a glimpse of it, and everything is sliding farther south and east. So this is going to shift farther south and east. In other words, Oklahoma City is out of the risk for the rest of today. Southeastern Oklahoma, I think things will continue. We will have continued tornado warnings. Let's go to Corey Inman right now. He is also tracking the tornadic storm, Blaze South. Corey, what's your location? What can you tell us?
Yeah, Emily, we're here on the highway just on the west side of Kanawha, looking back to the southwest. The base of the storm is just starting to come into view over the hills and the trees here. Just kind of looking for any lowered area. It looked like it kind of broadened out there for a little while and was trying to gust out, but starting to get one little area trying to tighten up back to the southwest of Kanawha. So this thing should come right over the top of us, maybe just to our north. Looks like maybe it's kind of taking a little more of a northeast track. So we're right here on the west edge of Kanawha, and we'll let you know if anything happens. Emily, back to you.
Okay, thanks for that report. Hold up this shot for a second. So we're keeping a close eye over here. You can see the lowering, and he's going to be keeping a close eye for any potential development if there is a tornado. It's going to be dropping there. Remember, this storm has produced a confirmed tornado, but that is for the southern circulation. That's where we had a tornado confirmed. This one, not officially confirmed by any spotters yet, but it has been a strong circulation. Let's go ahead and take a look at the watch. Again, one tornado warning ongoing, although it's kind of for two circulations. And then we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings to the northeast. Still tracking the showers and storms. This is the final band. This morning we were talking about the I-35 corridor around noon or 1. This started a little bit earlier, closer to about 10:30 or 11. And because the boundary is shifted farther south and east, That's where we're seeing the storms right now. So Oklahoma City is in the clear. You are fine. Off to the west, a cold soaking rain. You are fine as well. In fact, we'll even have some snow in our panhandle later today, which is not too out of the ordinary for early November. Here is the circulation. You could see the little hook that happened. There is still a notch in place as this is traveling northeast towards Kanawha. Let's go ahead and zoom on in a little bit closer here. So we are tracking this persistent tornadic circulation southeast of Asher. It has broadened out a little bit, although look at this new little area south of the polygon that I'm eyeing, a little couplet there that's pulsing back up. This is not in the polygon, but we're keeping a close eye on that. Broader circulation, it really has kind of broadened out southeast of Asher. Not to say that it won't pulse back up again. I would still get into your safe spot, Kanawha, as it is heading your way. Let's go back to Corey Inman because he is right there. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, go to his shot. Corey, you're looking.
Yeah, Emily, you're. Yeah, John, I'm on the west side of Kanawha looking to the southwest, and you can see that's a pretty flat base all the way across there. Don't have any appendages sticking down. Don't have anything that looks like, there's a tornado imminent. It's been pretty flat and consistent for about the last 5 minutes or so. So that's definitely a good sign as it moves into Kanawha. Emily was talking about a new area that she was seeing there on velocities back to the further south, and you can kind of pick up that little area down there if you look to the far left of the shot here, and I'll kind of turn the camera for you a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of keeping an eye on both areas there. But right now, everything looks good as this moves into Kanawha.
Yeah, what Corey's looking at here, folks, this is the mesocyclone. It's just off to his southwest here. This whole thing is wrapped up. Now, looking at radar right now, there probably isn't a tornado on the ground, looking at radar. The signature doesn't look strong enough. But if it is, it's wrapped in rain here. I could see this core wrap in from the south, and it kind of just did a double flip, kind of wrapping around. So this is the circulation right here. If there's something on the ground, you just can't see it right now because it's wrapped in rain. But, Corey, you're in the perfect spot, as you know, from storm chasing all these years. If you're going to go after a storm like this that's wrapped up, you need to come in from the northeast, just the way you're doing it, because you have that dry slot that's getting wrapped in there, right? So you have a little bit of visibility looking into that possible tornado. If you're on the south side, forget it. If you're south of this storm and it's wrapped up, you're just not going to see anything. So you're in a great position, but you're going to run into some road problems, right? Because you got to head north here pretty soon. So what does it look like? Give me one more update, Corey.
Yeah, still the same here, John. Just a flat base, and like you said, if there is anything, it could possibly be back in the rain, but just not seeing any signs that that's the case. And you're right about the road network. We're going to have to get back over here and probably go north on 77 and then slide east with it. But right now, just nothing there that looks like there's a tornado there, John.
Okay, yeah, the radar definitely is saying right now that, it's a decent circulation. It looks like it's not as strong as it was about 10, 15 minutes ago, and there probably is not a tornado on the ground. We have no indication of that. Still, a decent circulation is traveling east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So again, this is going north of Stratford. It's going to cross the highway there north of Stratford and continue east-northeast. So, yeah, you just got to keep in front of it, Corey. And it's the only game in town right now as far as tornadic supercell. It's the only tornadic storm we have ongoing right now. There is new development south of the Red River, which is going to cross the Red River. That could develop into some pretty intense storms. That's probably going to stay south and east of our viewing area, but we'll watch those. And the other storms to the northeast are moving into Tulsa right now, so that's their issue. So right now, this is the only storm in town. We have that boundary just off to the east-southeast of Oklahoma City. So, if you live in the Oklahoma City area to the west, you're pretty much out of this in terms of big-time severe weather, right? The boundary slipped a little bit farther to the east-southeast, late morning, early afternoon. That's my phone. Sorry, it's so loud. That's not a tornado warning. That's loud. Anyway, Corey, you're doing a great job. Stay with this storm. It's the only storm right now that is really concerning to our viewing ship. So track that as it moves off to the east-northeast. Emily?
John, someone's calling to extend your car warranty.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's go. I picked it up. All right, let's take a look at our tornado watch that continues. What's sad is I know all the sounds of his phones from the morning. Yes, all of the sounds. All right, there is a severe thunderstorm that continues into Tulsa, and there's one tornado warning south and east. I mean, hey, when you have to wake up in those early morning hours, you have to have your phone loud, to be fair. There is tornado watch that continues until 6 p.m. for parts of eastern and southeastern Oklahoma. So this is the main event. This is the line of storms, and it will probably get worse as it progresses to the east. Do you see these new stragglers moving in from the south, from North Texas? These could quickly turn severe as well. And any of these storms that are more discrete, meaning they're more on their own, more independent, will likely have a greater chance of producing some of the higher end winds, hail, and tornadoes as well. Right now, it's been more linear. But even so, this one has been persistent through the past hour and a half. I'll have to see when we first jumped on air for this one, but it has been holding on. And you can still see the notch here northwest of Kanawha, moving off to the north and east. The current track's going to take it northwest of Holdenville. Do you see this little notch east of Asher? Right now, that's where we're watching the broad area circulation. But this is the other area I was talking about just south. It looks like a newer development. This would be east of Stratford. So let's go back to Corey Inman because he is in perfect position for this. And he was talking about noticing the other circulation as well. Still seems pretty broad in that area, but you've been keeping a close eye at the base. What have you noticed?
Yeah, Emily, it is pretty broad, but if you look right over the little outbuilding there, you can see that lowered area. Clouds have started to move left to right just a little bit more than what they were the past couple of minutes. So there's definitely an area of spin right there, and that area is kind of started to lower just a little bit since we spoke last. But there's definitely starting to get some movement at the cloud base here, and this is going to be just on the west side of Kanawha. May put it moving west of Kanawha by a mile. It may go right over the top of Kanawha. This is it's starting to get almost due south of me, but you can see that little spot there just kind of dropped out of there, and clouds moving left to right with it. So haven't had any little fingers or funnels or anything out of it, but the rotation is definitely on the increase here, Emily.
Yeah, we're watching your shot right now, and we've been noting, you can see the whole storm rotating, mesocyclone, so the whole thing is rotating. And then you want to look towards the base of the storm to see if there's any debris picking up, if the circulation tightens up. But at this time, we're not seeing that indication. It still has been pretty broad. It's persistent, though, and it's still in a favorable environment. So it could still produce a tornado. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest from the radar. Maybe we can double box with this shot. You can see the little notch here east of Asher. This continues to move off to the north and east. This is located north of Kanawha. The latest track is taking it a little bit more of a northerly track, and sometimes it'll bounce between trying to include north a little bit and then traveling a little bit more to the east. There's the broad circulation. That's what he's watching right now. And then there's an additional circulation. This one's not looking as strong anymore, farther south. So this is the main area east of Asher that is going to be moving northeast. We are watching it. Corey is on it. Let's go ahead and take a shot full screen again, if we can, control room. And Corey, it looks like it's broadened back out again. But for a second, you had a pretty decent lowering.
Yeah, we've lost the lowering there, Emily. Like you said, it's flattened out, but there's a lot of motion in the clouds there. Just don't have that bowl feature that we had just a few minutes ago. So still just kind of scanning around here, and like you said, the rotation's pretty broad, no localized areas. So getting ready to come over the top of us, so we're going to have to reposition here, Emily.
Yeah, Corey, this is Aaron Brackett here, tag team coverage for you, and lots of trackers out in the field. We were looking at that, too. You're probably going to have to head north here in just a second. But the good news is Corey has that roof camera. We can follow it as he's going north. We can look at either behind or just off to the west. So there it is. Again, tornado warning does continue into areas off to the north and east of Sacred Heart. So we continue to watch that. Tornado warning, 12:45. It's 12:25 right now, so another about 20 minutes left on this as it continues moving kind of northeast right now, about northeast. So we'll push into that just a little bit. You can see Corey's picture on the left-hand side of your screen as well. So it's moving just off to the south and east of St. Louis, north of Kanawha right now. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of that velocity. Been kind of bouncing back between reflectivity, so you can see the rain and the rain curtains wrapping in, and velocity. It is broad rotation, as we've been talking about, not really tight. It was tightened up just a little bit. This has a history of producing a brief tornado just off to the west of Wynnewood. That was a confirmed tornado. Right now, there is no tornado on the ground because Corey's looking right at it. You see it right there on the left-hand side of your screen right now, but the rotation is still there. It's going to be moving north of Kanawha and toward the community of Wolf. So that is basically right centered in the middle of the tornado warning as it continues moving off to the north and northeast. The movement on this has been about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So fairly quick movement here with this supercell that is still in a favorable storm environment right now. So we continue to watch that. We'll go ahead and put a cone on this here, a storm track. So moving about 35 miles per hour. So here's the time of arrival for you right now. Bowlegs, about 16 minutes. Community of Wolf, about 13 minutes. And then as you go toward Dixon, that's going to be about 30 minutes from now. That would take it to about 1 o'clock as this continues its movement. Let's go back to Corey's picture right now and take that full. And again, you can see kind of that could be a wall cloud right here, not really well defined. It is a lowering, and Corey's been talking about some kind of intermittent rotation that's been broad. We've been watching that, but you can see how the cloud base comes down and then goes back up. There could be another one right here, kind of going down, kind of a flat bottom on it. He's going to turn the camera for us, so there we go, kind of a clear shot. That right there looks to be kind of the lowering. So why do you have that feature? Because the storm is kind of sucking air straight up. It's a rain-free base because any raindrops cannot fall. They're going up into the storm, and that's where the rotation will be right there. So yeah, you can see the bottom of that base. Corey, go ahead briefly if you could. You're heading north right now as that storm is moving about north-northeast, 35 miles per hour, the motion on it, and the tornado warning continues. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, Aaron, that circulation that we were looking at was actually the one that was a little further south that Emily was talking about earlier. The stuff to the north had all kind of flattened out and blown out. That was the far south circulation that Emily was referring to earlier. It's now crossed north of the highway here. We're coming into Kanawha so that we can turn and get north. But just as we started into Kanawha, you were describing it there. Had that one little area tried to lower again. Wasn't real organized, but was trying to organize and kind of lowered there a little bit. There was a little bit of spin with it, but nothing that was real tight. It was still pretty broad.
I appreciate that, Corey Inman. We'll go back to Links 2 for just a second, then we'll check in with Eric Dixon. He's not too far away from this, relatively in the same location. So if you're just joining us right now, it's about 12:30. Normally this time of the day, you'd be watching News 4 at noon. The weather is the news right now, and we continue after a very busy morning to see this pretty much the one dominant storm that we have in central Oklahoma. It is coming into Seminole County right now. It has just crossed the river. I'm going to pull the view back here so we can get kind of an overview of what's going on. Anywhere in Oklahoma City, it's a northwesterly wind. The boundary has passed. The severe weather threat has ended for Oklahoma City proper and areas off to the west. This is the one tornado warning that we have right now. It is just south of Seminole. It's going to be approaching Highway 377 before too long, and you can kind of see just south of Maud. That's where we see that spin, that rotation kind of picking up. Let's go to Eric Dixon. He's real close to this too. Eric, what's your exact location, and tell us about it?
I'm just a few miles west of Kanawha here. I'm going to kind of jog around this storm here. I'm trying to blast east with it. I think Corey's going to go north with it right there. Hopefully, I'm going to try and see what happens here. I'm going to look at the radar so I can try to get ahead of it the next highway and jump north with it here to see if I can cut it off there. I was kind of been in that rain core for a while. Had a free base back there. I was looking back, to the south a little bit to it and to the east. And, this thing's hauling so fast, it just kind of overtakes you. You got just moments to look at it. But as far as what I'm seeing here, I'm not seeing any rotation in this area here. I do see a little bit of breaks and some clouds here. I'm getting a definition. I'm starting to come out of the rain here. I'm right here into the area here. Of course, this whole thing is kind of broadened out a little bit, kind of gusted out, but these things cycle a little bit, so that's why we're staying with it here. It's cycling. We're going to just stay with it to be forewarned as it's evolving and it's moving to the northeast. Aaron?
Okay, thanks, Eric. I'm going to take over now with our team coverage. We also have Chief Meteorologist Mike Morgan in-house as well, as we are keeping eyes on this storm, one persistent tornadic storm. There is another tornado warning just north of the Tulsa area as well. And of course, we have the big tornado watch that continues until 6 o'clock. So let's go ahead and take a look at the very latest. Ongoing showers to the west, farther to the west. It is cool. The atmosphere is stabilized from the severe weather we had earlier this morning, and also where the boundary is located. So we are tracking still. This storm has a little bit of a hook holding on. It's kind of wrapping in south of Maud. And then we also are watching this small area circulation near the Kanawha area as well. So let's go ahead and zoom on in a little bit closer. And you can see this small area circulation east of St. Louis. And we're also watching this small area south of Kanawha as well. Let's go to Corey Inman right now, who's tracking the latest. And Corey, not as well organized as earlier, but I'm still seeing these little small areas of circulation in that area that are trying to pulse up. Go ahead, Corey.
Sorry, Emily. We're north of Kanawha now. You can see that's it in the shot. It's directly over the road right behind us. It keeps kind of cycling. You know, it'll drop a wall cloud out of there, and then it'll blow out, and then it forms another one. But the rotation with it's really broad. No real centralized area of rotation. You can see, you know, it's kind of ragged at the bottom. All of that is, you know, that's mainly scud. You can still see the clouds moving left to right, but not one real tight area of spin as it passes to the north of Kanawha.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing that on radar and for reflectivity and on velocity. It's just a lot broader right now, so not as tight as what we had earlier. Let's go back to the maps where I want to show you the latest on reflectivity. You can see it kind of curling in south of Maud, lifting northeast. The track will be taking it just northwest of Wowoka, the way it's moving right now, and southeast of Seminole. So it's moving northeast. Sometimes these things can wrap in a little bit farther north. So it is struggling to produce a tornado, which of course is good news. But I do think as the day progresses, and this is a more favorable environment to the southeast, any storms that continue to move into that area, this untapped environment, it's not going to look good with large hail, damaging winds, and still tornado potential. Remember, Oklahoma City Metro, we are good, not dealing with the tornado risk. Farther south and east, this will continue to be an issue. We're still tracking this storm. Of course, Corey Inman's right on top of it. He's there in case it does drop a tornado. You can clearly see the circulation just south of Maud. So that's our main area we're watching. It looks like there's a tiny little embedded circulation west of Kanawha as well. And that's our one confirmed tornado that happened in West Wynnewood. It was kind of a subtle embedded circulation that produced a weak tornado. And that is our one confirmed tornado for today, even though we've had several tornado warnings. That's our one confirmed tornado warning. Farther northeast, we're also tracking the tornado warning north of Tulsa. Severe thunderstorm warning south of Tulsa continues to move off to the north and east. Here's a wider view, and we're still tracking our one main tornado warning. Off to the west, some nice showers from Kingfisher, Oklahoma City. We are dry. And you can see that warm air surging into the upper 70s and low 80s to the southeast versus the 40s and 50s northwest. So it's along and south of this boundary that we have the unstable atmosphere. Dew points still surging to the low 70s. So we have the warmth, we have the moisture, and we have the spin in the atmosphere with the main storm system approaching and any storms that are interacting along the boundary. That's how these went tornadic initially along that line, and why they've been so persistent is they're allowed to tap into that atmosphere. So the enhanced risk has moved south and east, and that's where we're expecting wind, hail, and a tornado threat as we continue. All right, let's go to Eric Dixon right now. Eric, what's your location? What can you tell us?
I'm in Kanawha right now. I'm going to be heading a little bit east with this. I'm going to try to jump ahead of the storm here. While Corey's kind of up under it here, I'm going to jump ahead of it, trying to play hopscotch with this thing so we can, kind of get a couple of different angles from this storm here. But I am in Kanawha. We're moving east with it. I'm going to get on 377 and move north and get a look at it. I did see that a little bit of that tag feature back in there that Corey was talking about there. It was pretty clear. I'm kind of in the free air a little bit over here. The rain's not as intense here, so I can kind of look back at it. I got 65 degrees. It's starting to slowly rise the temperature, so I'm kind of crossing that boundary up in here. So I'll get in a good position here in just a second. We'll look back at it. Emily?
Eric, thank you very much. Ongoing team coverage here for you. We have tornado watches to the east and to the southeast and to the south of the Oklahoma City metro. Oklahoma City, Moore, Norman, now Shawnee. Shawnee is clear as well. And the tornadic weather is pushing to the east and to the southeast. We have mostly cloudy skies, a little sunshine starting to build into the metro. If you have plans this afternoon, just know that the weather is not going to be tornadic for the Oklahoma City metro. It is shifted well to the east, southeast, and south of the Oklahoma City metro, and the tornado watch never included Oklahoma County. It is in effect until 6 p.m. just off to our east. And even Shawnee now is clear after having that tornado threat about an hour ago. The threat now is in Seminole County, Pontotoc County, down into eastern Garvin County, Murray County, down to about Carter County and Ofuskie County in our viewing area. So it's shifted to the east of Oklahoma City. There's Guthrie, there's Edmond, there's Oklahoma City, there's Norman, there's Moore. No tornado watch, and in fact, most of Lincoln County and most of Pottawatomie County Tecumseh, Shawnee, Chandler, you folks are clear. The activities push to your east. So we've had tornado warnings up here near Skiatook, just north of Tulsa, up there in southern Washington County and northern Tulsa County. We have one tornado warning in our viewing area. It's not for the metro. It's for just north and northeast of Kanawha, heading up near and south of Seminoles, where that's tracking near and south of Seminole, over toward Waleetka and Wetumpka. So Fuskie County and Hughes County and the Holdenville area, you folks stay alert. You're under that tornado watch until 6 p.m. tonight, and it includes parts of eastern and southern Garvin County down through Murray County and parts of Carter County and Pontotoc County and points east and southeast from there. That's where the tornado watch is located. But again, the metro, and this is for the rest of the day. You're going to be just fine. A little sunshine now coming out. There's going to be some cool rain, some chilly rain coming in this afternoon, but that's all that will be. A little bit of lightning and thunder perhaps, but basically just a little chilly rain coming on in. The severe weather has pushed off to our east. So here's the broad view, and this is all that's out to the west of the metro. It's just light rain shower activity. Temperatures are in the 50s out here, and it's close to 60 degrees now in most of the Oklahoma City metro, so we've cooled off a lot. And the storm line here, again, Pontotoc County, Seminole County, Hughes County, Ofuskie County. You folks do stay alert down into Texoma land, down there through Medill and Tishomingo. We got storm trackers on this. You folks in Seminole, stay alert, stay vigilant. You're under that tornado watch, and the tornado warning is very close to you. The surface winds ahead of this line are not as favorable right this second for tornadoes compared to what they were back at Wynnewood. The surface winds are straight out of the south. Earlier they were from the southeast. That southeast wind down by Wynnewood provides that low-level spin. These winds are more straight out of the south, and the shear of the wind speed is not, and the direction for that matter, is not quite as great. So this mesocyclone here is going to be essentially potentially tornadic, but as of right now, it is not producing tornadoes. Our storm trackers, we've been on that for a long time now, have been confirming that. So Bowlegs, tornado warning, and Seminole, tornado warning. All that has to happen for the tornado chance to improve would be for the surface wind to change a little more out of the southeast, and that would generate low-level spin, which would develop tornadic activity quickly. So here's the storm tracker here. Let's go over to Corey Inman. So tornado warning there, talking about essentially Wetumpka and Yeager and Cromwell. Let's go to Corey Inman here live, looking at it right now at the updraft and the wall cloud. Go, Corey.
Yeah, Mike, we're northbound on 377 up towards the Bowlegs area. Looks like we're trying to get a pretty good area of spin up here just to the south, maybe to the southeast of Bowlegs. So we're coming in right in front of it as it crosses 377 here. There's a little bit of a lowering there. Hard to make out any spin at the cloud base, but we are just crossing Salt Creek north of Kanawha, headed up towards the Bowlegs area, Mike.
Okay, let's go to Eric Dixon, also tracking that very close to Bowlegs, heading up towards Seminole. That is a new tornado warning. You folks in Seminole, you're in the new tornado warning, so heads up. It'll likely travel just to your south and just to your east. For you folks in Seminole, go Eric Dixon.
Yeah, Mike, I'm on just east of Kanawha on 19 here at 77 here. It looks like there's if you can confirm with me there, it looks like there's probably a little bit of circulation right at that intersection here. I've got a lot of free air kind of moving into it. The temperature went up to 72, so it's kind of feeding into this area. But it looks like a little bitty notches coming up on the velocity right here. So I'm going to kind of move east with it and kind of jump back and look at it there. But it may have a new area of circulation developing based on what I'm seeing here.
Eric Dixon, thank you so much. Back over to radar. So again, you folks that are in the trouble spot here would be south and southeast of Seminole, just south and just southeast and east of Seminole. So if you know anybody in the rural areas here, south of Seminole, southeast of Seminole, east of Seminole, make sure they're aware. Tornado warning is in effect. Secondary tornado warning now quickly coming out of southern Pottawatomie County. It's now in Seminole County, that southern area of circulation. Our storm trackers have been talking about 2 areas of spin here. That's what we're talking about. It is a supercell. The hail's not especially big. It's up to quarter size. Motion is to the northeast at nearly 40 miles an hour, so they're moving along. So there's the circulation at Bow Legs. Corey was just talking about that. And what's left of the circulation, a new area may well be forming. So we have to watch that very carefully down there between Kanawha and over there toward Spalding. So definitely Hughes County, you folks in Holdenville, do stay alert. Let's go back over to Corey Inman, update here for the immediate Bow Legs area. Ongoing tornado warning for you folks. Bow Legs just south and southeast and east of Seminole. New circulation going up east of Kanawha. Heads up for you folks in Spalding and Hughes County on that. Go Corey Inman.
Yeah, Mike, that area you're talking about east of Conowall, that's kind of what we were tracking there. Form a lowering and then would fall apart. The circulation that you're talking about at Bow Legs is east of 377 now. We're kind of in the rain here, having to maneuver through traffic. So we're shooting from southwest to northeast, looking up into it. Base looks pretty flat, Mike. Don't see any appendages or anything there. There's a little bit of rotation, but it's pretty broad. It's not super tight and localized. But it is east of 377 now in the Bow Legs area.
Okay, Corey, you're doing a great job. You and Eric Dixon down there on these circulations down here coming through Seminole County over into Hughes County. Again, the surface winds are not out of the southeast like they were over at Wynnewood. They're more straight out of the south. So the curvature of the wind, at least for this very moment in time, is not quite as dramatic as it was back at Wynnewood when it produced a tornado. Now, that can change very quickly. It doesn't take more than just a few minutes for the atmosphere to make an adjustment, which would dramatically improve the ability for it to be able to become tornadic. But right now, the trend on it, the current trend as of right now, is really quite good. With that being said, all that really matters is you have tornado warnings in effect, so tornado precautions. Back over to radar. So the polygons you see are the 2 tornado warnings that we have right now. Where is this? This is about 55 miles to the southeast of Oklahoma City. If you're here in the metro, including Moore and Norman and Shawnee, and the rest of Oklahoma City, you're just fine for the rest of the day. A little bit of light rain shower activity may come in, a few splashes of sunshine coming out right now. So we're fine. We're not under a tornado watch at all, and never have been this morning here in Oklahoma City, which is good. The activity is shifting to our east and to our southeast where it has been. So heads up Cromwell. It's heading your way. This is up here in northeastern Seminole County, and then heads up for Fusky County around Okemah and the Clearview area, Waleetka, Wetumpka here, Dustin, and all the way down through Yeager and Holdenville. So again, you look for the red and the green, a little bit of a hot spot right there east of Bow Legs. It is what we call gate to gate, like a swinging gate going different directions, like if you had 2 tube gates sticking together and they swing the opposite direction. That's what we have going on right there. So it's spinning. The spin is not especially strong, but it definitely is spinning. And that area down there, just to the northeast of Kanawha and to the west of Spalding there, that area is spinning as well. Let's go back to Corey Inman. Corey, it's a small area of medium to medium-low rotation right there. You've been on it all along. Go, Corey.
Yeah, it's been a broad, slow rotation. Nothing tight, nothing super fast, that says, hey, we're going to have a tornado. Like you said, it's east of the Bow Legs area, and then that other area back to the east of Conowall that we were watching earlier that Eric's on. Both of them continue to slide off to the east, but right now, I mean, we're tucked in right underneath the back side of it, Mike, and just don't see anything that screams tornado. But we do have we do have that little lowering there. We're getting ready to turn east so that we can go east out of Bow Lakes. Break back out in front of it, might have a better look at it. But right now, just nothing says tornado, Mike.
Okay, very good. Folks, appreciate you guys with the eyes on it for sure. So let's go ahead and back out and take a look at the broad view. If you're just now joining us here, 12:45 on a Monday. So all we have coming in from the west for the metro is a little bit of light rain. There's a little sunshine out there right now. The wave has passed Interstate 35 completely, except for right on the Red River down at Love County, down there at the Windstar. Still a potential of some activity, which could be tornadic there in Love County. But the wave is even passing downtown Ardmore right now. So gives you an idea how quickly it's moving on by. So we'll zoom on in here and take a look at the trouble spot in our viewing area. It's Seminole County. This produced a tornado earlier over by Wynnewood. The surface winds have become a little bit less favorable for tornadoes in the past 15 to 20 minutes. As opposed to Wynnewood about an hour ago, but that could change very quickly. In fact, we're getting a little bit more of an S shape here up to the mesocyclone, indicating that it's trying to increase in intensity just a bit. So this is literally minute by minute fluctuations, and we don't really have a low lowering. However, the velocities east of Seminole is where this is, east of Seminole and southeast of Seminole. So it's going to miss Seminole. Is east of Bow Lakes, heading up here toward Wetumpka and up toward Fusky County. A little bit of red and green there coming together. Also on the tail of that, a little bit of red and green northwest of Sasakwa. That's heading up here towards Spalding and Holdenville. So you folks in Hughes County, stay alert. Let's go back to our team of trackers. Eric Dixon now. Got a pair of trackers right on this right now. Go, Eric.
Yeah, Mike, I'm right here just to the west of Sasakwa. I'm definitely right. That's kind of that boundary right there that you're looking at, where the winds are kind of coming together there. It's kind of weak. I'm seeing just a little bit of rising motion in there, but it's fairly weak. But I'm not seeing any definite rotation that's strong that says, hey, it's screaming out a tornado here. But it's maybe have a little bit of a wall cloud trying to develop just to the north as I kind of came on a clearing here. Let me get to another, like I wouldn't say it's a wall cloud, I'd say like a lowering. It's kind of some weak rotation in there. But let me get to a spot where I can look back to the north here. There's kind of some windy roads up here. Get back with you here in just a second. So pay attention to that camera there. I'll have it on here in just a second.
Okay, so let's hold that shot. Well, so we're showing you the wall cloud there. There's a pretty good push of cool weather coming in right behind this supercell, which is a good thing because that cool weather tends to try to wrap in to the mesocyclone itself and weakens its updraft potential and keeps it from really just going explosive. A lot of times it's not a guaranteed fail-safe, but when you have cool weather trying to come in behind the mesocyclone, and you can see it by looking at see this kind of hazy looking edge right here. This is cool air wedging in and being drawn in to the circulation. I tell you, Eric Dixon's doing a great job with eyes on it right here. That's the spin. That's why there's a tornado warning in effect. Cool weather wedging in to the circulation there is somewhat, not a guaranteed, but somewhat of a limiting factor in terms of getting tornado genesis. We'll see if that holds. Let's hope it does. Let's go back over to our maps here. Let's go back to Eric Dixon. I tell you what, he's got his eyes looking right at it. Go, Eric.
Yes, I'm turning right now here so you can kind of take a look at that here. That's what I was talking about, that little feature over there with the camera kind of pointed up at it. That's a little bit of a weak rotation back in there. If there's going to be a new circulation kind of developing back there, it looks very ominous back in there. So I don't see any rapid movement back in there, but that's definitely an area to watch as we progress east with it here near on Highway 19 here. So definitely watching it here. Mike?
Okay, very good. Let's go back to Max 1 here. So he's just got a great view of it right there, just as clear as can be. So that's the reason for the tornado warning. You're looking right at it. So east of Seminole there's a little bit of spin there. Southeast of Seminole, a little bit of spin there. So this is going to be just to the west of Wewoka. Wewoka, you're right there on the edge of the tornado warning. It's to your west and to your northwest right now, and then heading up into Fusky County around Okemah. That's where it's heading, and also heads up for Holdenville. Storms are heading your way as well. Spin a little bit down there to the west of Holdenville. That's why you folks in Holdenville have to stay really alert. You're under that tornado watch. Right now, you're not under a tornado warning, but that could change really quickly as these approach your area. Conditions are still favorable for tornadoes here. Locally, the winds have done a few small little changes here compared to Wynnewood, so it's not quite as favorable, still favorable, but not quite as favorable as it was about 45 minutes ago to an hour when it produced tornadic activity down by Wynnewood. So here's Seminole County, and here is Hughes County for the Yeager-Holdenville area, so we're watching all that very carefully. Let's go back over to Corey Inman. Corey Inman's got another pair of eyes on that right now. Go, Corey.
Yeah, Mike, we're eastbound out of Bull Legs, kind of caught in the core. We got behind some semi-traffic there on 377 that just trying to punch through the core here so that we can see what we've got on the other side. We've lost visual of the lowering that we did have. Should have it here in just a few minutes when we get through here.
Okay, let's go back to Eric Dixon looking right at it. He's got the clearest shot of that mesocyclone. Go, Eric.
Yeah, Mike, I'm kind of repositioning here. I'm going to jump over. I'm going east right now. I'm trying to north here to get that. It's kind of a new circulation back in there. It's kind of the edge of that, kind of the gust front as the winds are trying to come in there and notch in there. So.
Okay, very good.
But I had a lot of. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I was just going to get to a new position here. I had some weak rotation back there, some sinking air and then rising air, kind of like right up in front of it. That rear flank downdraft was trying to develop in there. So it was very weak when I was back at 377. That's kind of what I was looking at there. So we're going to move east with it. I'm going to try to jump on the highway north here. I'll get you another view here momentarily. Mike?
Okay, let's go back over to Max 1 here, give you an overview. So if you're just now joining us here, there's no watches or warnings for any place in the metro. Moore's clear, Norman's clear, Shawnee's clear, Pauls Valley is clear, even Meeker's clear, and Prague is clear as well now. So we're talking about Lincoln County and Pottawatomie County, everything shifting over here into Fusky County and Seminole County and Pontotoc County. That'd be Bing and Ada. And as it moves to the east and to the northeast, the line's moving about 40 miles an hour. So they're moving pretty fast. Ongoing tornado warning here. Circulation is not as closed off and as strong as it was when it produced a tornado near Wynnewood about an hour ago. The surface winds have changed just a little bit in this immediate area to become slightly less favorable. That can change very quickly, though. So you see these little S shapes to the mesocyclone and the gust front here. When those become more exaggerated S's, that's when the tornado threat goes up, and it literally changes minute by minute by minute. So that's what we're watching so carefully. And you see the red and the green there locally. Those are little areas of spin. You've heard our storm trackers talking about that all morning and during our noon show here. So this is one tornado warning in our viewing area. It is for Seminole County. Activity to the west and southwest of Holdenville as of right now. Not doing too much. There's a lot of wind shear there, but it's not really anything yet to be too concerned about. You folks in Holdenville should stay alert all the same. You're under that tornado watch for a little while longer here till this line comes through. That area there, heading for Cromwell, is one area of spin that is definitely worth monitoring. Cromwell from there right up to Okemah on Interstate 40, and then another little area of spin there to the northwest of Wewoka. So two areas right there, but again, they have broadened out and they're not quite as turning as they were over there by Wynnewood a short while ago. And there's the timeline for you. Cromwell 107, it's 12:54 right now. So we're talking about 10 minutes from right now. And then Okemah at around 1:15 to 1:20. So you're talking about 25 to 30 minutes for Okemah. They're moving pretty fast, right? So it's going to be in Okemah here very soon and moving northeasterly. And then that southern area spin I just showed you is in the Lima area right now. And then again, near Cromwell at about the same time. And then Okemah again at about the same time. They're very closely packed next to one another, just about 4 or 5 miles apart. And then Waletka there at 1:34. So Seminole County into Hughes County up into Fusky County. Let's go back to ground truth. Our team of trackers, Corey Inman, joins us live now. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, we're just southwest of Wewoka, kind of right in that little notch that you were just talking about. We're just breaking through, looking around. Let me spin the camera around here and kind of clean some of the rain off of it for you. That little notch that you were just talking about is just to our southeast here. Got the camera pointed at it right now. There's a little bit of spin there, but not a lot, Mike, and it's pretty broad. So it's right here on the leading edge, just to the southwest of Wewoka.
All right, thanks for that report from Corey Inman. We appreciate that. Our team of trackers working hard. They've been out since very early this morning. Of course, we had our first tornado warning around 4 a.m. in southwestern Oklahoma near Frederick. And then we had the rude awakening again for the Oklahoma City Metro around 6 o'clock this morning as there was tornado-warned storm moving into the West Metro. Multiple brief little subtle circulations along the line, QLCS tornadoes. And here we are still covering tornado warnings and an ongoing tornado watch. This has been tapered a little bit farther east to exclude a greater part of central Oklahoma now. So Oklahoma City completely in the clear, and all the areas west, we have cool air in place. That is good news. Eastern Oklahoma still under the gun. There are reports just north of Tulsa, damaged homes from the tornado warning and the tornado that moved through that area. We have one confirmed tornado that happened briefly, a tiny little tornado west Wynnewood earlier, and this has been our longest circulation. Zooming into the latest, we are still seeing this tornado warning that is lifting northeast south of Cromwell. Eventually this is going to be tracking northeast towards Okemah, but like what Mike was saying, the winds are less favorable for these circulations to actually completely wrap up and produce a tornado. There's enough circulation that it tries to. We've been seeing multiple lowerings from our storm tracker streams, Corey and then stream, but it's not successful into actually making it to the ground, which is a great thing for now. Now, later today, that may change as it continues to progress off to the east. Further north, we're tracking some of this heavier rain. Let's go back to Corey Inman because he's been on top of this storm. And Corey, you started early this morning. I know you're heading towards, there was a tornado warning at one point that was heading towards Stillwater, and thankfully that weakened. But as a result, OSU classes were canceled earlier today. So you ventured all the way from Ponca City, and here you are in southeastern Oklahoma, or eastern Oklahoma. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it feels like it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, Emily, and it's only 1 o'clock. So anyway, we're here just to the west, northwest of Wewoka. We're right behind the little notch here. You can see the lowering just ahead of us and north of the highway here. So continues, same thing we had back in the Conemaugh area. Everything's pretty broad, no tight centralized area of rotation, a lot of heavy rain. We're riding right here with it as it comes into Wewoka. Just don't see anything. Well, now we've got a little bit of tree debris flying around here that was coming east to west. So, but don't just looking here. I mean, there's a little bit of spin at the base of the clouds here, Emily, but not a lot. Not seeing any upward motion or anything like that. So it's right here over the top of us. So if it doesn't, we're going to be in it. Back to you.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, you have been on top of it, so thank you for that. And let's take a look back at the radar. Maybe we can double box with this shot because it is so great. And we are tracking this, continuing to move off to the north and east. You can see this little notch here that's still barely in place, but south of Cromwell, also tracking near Wewoka, a small little area of circulation. There's two areas, one southwest of Cromwell and another one north of Wewoka, and they are trying to pulse back up a little bit. So he'll be watching that, and that's what's been happening is they pulse back up, create a lowering, but so far, knock on wood, have not produced a tornado except for that tornado that happened west of Wynnewood, but that wasn't on the leading edge of it. It was embedded in the back of the storm, and very subtle circulation at that. So you can see this other circulation north of Wewoka about to cross Highway 56 there, and moving farther north, these are stronger storms through Stroud, but not severe. And there's still ongoing severe storms up through Tulsa and tornado warnings into northeastern Oklahoma. One of those did produce damage north of Tulsa. A wider view showing that the storms go all the way back. I want to point out new severe thunderstorm warning crossing the Red River into south central Oklahoma. We're going to be eyeing these storms in southeastern Oklahoma as it is a more favorable environment with the rich amount of moisture that's in place, the warm air, and this has kind of been an untapped atmosphere versus the areas that saw the rain and storms earlier today. So upper 70s to low 80s south and east. We have the low 50s northwest, still in the mid 60s for Oklahoma City, and it looks like the sun's trying to break through the clouds a little bit. So we are looking at warm, unstable air mass in southeastern Oklahoma, and that's why the tornado watch continues for this part of the state. Also, a lot of moisture present from Ada to Ardmore, dew point around 70. Look at the wind change. So any of the storms have been riding along the boundary. That's why they've had a little bit of spin at times, and you can see that the enhanced risk is south and east, and that's the main area we're looking for later today. Let's go back to Corey Inman for the latest, and Corey, go ahead and tell us what you're seeing with the latest circulations.
Yeah, Emily, we're in Wewoka, getting ready to turn north on Highway 56. The area rotation just north of us here. That's the warning that extends up to the Cromwell area. So we're getting ready to turn here and go up towards Cromwell. There's been no change since the last time we talked. Just pretty broad area of rotation, nothing real centralized. So looks like it's going to pass. It's going to pass Wewoka to the north, Emily.
Corey Inman, thank you very much. Let's go back to Max 1, give you an overview. It's now 1 o'clock here on our Monday, and there are no tornado watches for the metro at all, and there will not be any. There will not be any for the rest of today. Got a little light rain coming in, a couple splashes of sun. The severe weather line is pushing off to our east. For you folks over in the eastern and southeastern sides of our viewing area, the tornado threat continues for a little while longer. So there's Chandler, there's Shawnee, no tornado threat. Tecumseh, no tornado threat. Pauls Valley, Wynnewood, tornado threats over, as well as Guthrie, Edmond, Oklahoma City, Midwest City, Del City, Moore, Norman, Yukon, El Reno, Chickasha, Minco, Tuttle, Kingfisher, tornado threat, not there. It's all over here to our east. So we have tornado warnings up here north of Oologah, up there in far northern Rogers County, up into Craig County and Nowata County, and then eastern, northeastern Seminole County, tornado warnings there. Severe thunderstorm warnings just south of Kanawha, the Bing area, just north and northwest of Ada. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. The tornado watch until 6 p.m. in green, as you can see, and severe storms right there at the WinStar down in Love County. But again, as you can see, we're totally watch and warning free for the entire Oklahoma City metro, and it will stay that way. Nothing's coming back. This was wave 4. This is the last wave. It's now over, so that's good news. Just a little light rain left to go. No more heavy rainfall for the ongoing flooding concerns. That also is now passing to the east for our viewers over here in the eastern sides of Oklahoma and southeastern Oklahoma. More heavy rain for you. It is snowing, by the way, out there around Black Mesa in the western panhandle of Oklahoma. It's snowing out there, and they'll have a little bit of snow out there in the western panhandle. Zooming on in, so heads up for Okfuskee County. It's now rapidly heading your way. Okemah area, again, ongoing tornado warning here. Circulation now just crossing from Seminole County into Okfuskee County. Ongoing tornado warning there. The surface winds not quite as favorable for the spin compared to Wynnewood about an hour and 10 minutes ago, where we had a brief tornado. If it stays that way, if we're fortunate, these won't produce tornadoes. However, with that being said, that tornado warning does continue. The circulations are just not really doing a very good job right now at closing off. So you see, look for the red and the green, and you just don't see a whole lot of red and green right next to each other. There's a couple of areas there, but it's having a very difficult time closing off the spin. Now, that can change incredibly fast. For example, as we had over the weekend with the devastating South Oklahoma City and Hara tornadoes, man, those formed incredibly fast. The surface winds were much more favorable to get tornadic activity. These can change very quickly too, but so far it is not happening, and that's very good news. And we'll just hope that our luck continues. So do notice here, severe thunderstorm warning now for Okfuskee County and not a tornado warning. So that's the Weather Service, at least for this very moment, saying, the circulations really aren't closing off, and we're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Okemah as of this moment and not a tornado warning, knowing that could change since you're still in a tornado watch. That's what that means for you folks in Okemah and Okfuskee County. Holdenville, we're watching it carefully for you. Nothing down to the southwest of you that looks too ominous. There is a severe storm down there. There's a little bit of wind shear in far southern Seminole County. We're watching that very carefully for the Holdenville area and over into Hughes County. So what does a tornado circulation really look like? Well, here's the same day, right? This just happened. So compare that to what we're showing you down around Seminole right now. It's completely different. Well, this produced a damaging tornado. through southern Washington County, near Vera, south of Ramona, and over by Sperry. And it may be ongoing the way it looks. Damaging tornado may be ongoing up there north of Oologah Reservoir and north of Talala and Oologah, heading on up into Nowata County. It looks very much like it may be an ongoing tornado. But again, compare that, right? Look at the red and the green there wrapping up. See how it's formed a circle? Compare that. Now I'll back up the map. Compare that with what you see right here. Not nearly as hot, not nearly as hot. So these are a lot cooler colors, the red and the green. Nothing closing off, not nearly as hot. Tornado warning here too, but it is a little different, right? Right now, not as hot on these colors. That's good news. Let's go back to Corey Inman, live update. Our team of trackers looking right on it and at it for you. Going into Fusky County now, out of Seminole County. Go Corey Inman.
Yeah, Mike, we are south of Cromwell here, headed north, and you're right. This thing's almost completely lined out. We've lost all the lowerings that we had with it. Just have a lot of heavy rain and some gusty northwest winds. Sorry. So tornado potential over here is decreased dramatically from what we've had the last couple of hours, Mike.
So when you say gusty northwest winds, where are you in relation to the circulation with those gusty, cooler northwest winds?
The circulation should be maybe a half a mile right here in front of us. But there's no lowering or anything to kind of, it's just kind of completely gusted out, scud clouds here and there. There's no lowering associated with it or anything. So the line is crossing the highway right here on top of us, and we're getting that northwest wind at about 25 to 30, 35, Mike.
Okay, so you say it's right there in front of you. What direction is the wall cloud from you?
There's not a wall cloud. That's the thing. You're showing that little small area of rotation on velocities, but there's not a wall cloud associated with it at all. It's completely gusted out.
And your current location is where?
We're between Wewoka and Cromwell, headed north.
Okay, very good. So that's the latest there from Corey Inman. I do want to kind of back up here, and we're going to go to Max 1. So we're going to kind of highlight here a new area of circulation. So here it is right here. So this is going to go north of Okemah, and this appears to be taking over across a good part of that line. This is going to go to the northwest and north of Okemah up toward IXL, Highway 48. So if you know folks on Highway 48 north of Okemah in Fusky County up toward IXL, let them know, and do it now because you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but that circulation's getting a little bit tighter and trying to wrap up. So just let them know that it's an elevated threat with a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado watch in effect there to the it's already north of I-40, in other words. It's north of I-40 to the northwest and north of Okemah up Highway 48 toward IXL. So see IXL right there, talking about Castle. So Castle right there on the highway at Castle, it's trying to close off, and the gust front's swinging around, so it's trying to close off. Not impossible. You could get a tornado up here north of Okemah as we head through the next 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. From there, it's going to go into Okmulgee County, and it's going to head for Okmulgee and up there toward Okmulgee Lake. And near and south and east of Slick is where that's going to be going, and up there toward Preston, Oklahoma, Preston. Just right around the Okmulgee B line, Highway 75. So Castle now, it'll go north of Okemah, so Highway 48 up here, make sure they know, and then all the way up here toward Okmulgee Lake and Okmulgee County. That's where that's tracking. It is trying to close off a little bit. Not a tornado warning this very moment, but it is a severe thunderstorm warning. And then back down the line, let's go to Eric Dixon here in just a minute. Nothing too threatening here, even down with that severe thunderstorm warning west of Sasakwa. West of Sasakwa, there is a little area there trying to make an effort at closing off, but it's not. The velocities are not very strong. So if it were to ramp up from here, it would be doing so in a little bit more time from right now. Why is that important? Holdenville. Talking about Holdenville, Hughes County, and Spalding, and right through the west central and central parts of Hughes County. So stay alert and stay vigilant. You are under a tornado watch with that. Let's go to Eric Dixon with an update there. Let's go back over to Corey Inman then. Corey, go ahead. So Corey Inman is tracking through northern Seminole County. Go ahead, Corey. Let's go back over to radar here. We'll keep things moving until they can chime in. Cell coverage gets a little bit, a little tricky over here in the hills and the trees over in eastern Oklahoma. So it's kind of spotty on that cell phone coverage. So we'll get back with them here in just a minute. So in the meantime, we'll keep you updated. So again, there's the tornado that produced confirmed damage around Sperry and across southern Washington County. Man, it really spun up. Could have been a decent, powerful-ish tornado there west of Talala. Pretty rural up in through here. And now it's going all the way up into Nowata County. From there, it's going to go up into Craig County. But that was a powerful circulation. That's what a tornado circulation looks like right there. Similar to what we had over the weekend when we had the tornadoes right here in the metro. So there's Seminole. You folks are in the clear. Seminole's totally clear. And the line just now going through Wewoka as well. So you have heavy rain and storms there. This trailing storm going up toward Okemah there, your timeline's about 122. And also a secondary circulation there, Okemah, again, about 122. And then Henrietta, I-40, over there east of Okemah, Henrietta, by about 140 or so. Let's go back to Corey Inman here, update. So tracking pretty quickly into Fusky County now. Corey, go.
Yeah, Mike, we are just coming into Cromwell here, headed north. Like you said, the line is right over the top of us and just off to the east. Getting some very, very heavy rain and a northwest wind about 30 here to the south of Cromwell. So we're going to get up here to I-40, Mike, and pull off and head back towards the metro.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Eric Dixon now with an update from Eric. Eric, tell us where you are. What do you see right now?
I'm in a town of Wewoka. I'm heading north on 56 right now. I'm going to get into a clearing, kind of look at that storm that's behind me there that's going to come into the Holden area, the Wewoka area. So I'm in a good position to kind of take a look at that storm if it's going to try to produce anything out there. But right now I'm going north on 56 here at Wewoka. So we're just kind of staying with it. A lot of torrential rain, a lot of flooding is going to be occurring through this area here. So the fields are just inundated. We're going to stay with it. Back to you.
Let's give you a storm projection, a time of arrival for you folks ahead of this. So we're going to talk about first that area of circulation here near Castle. So it's near Castle now to go north of Okemah. So we're talking about Mulgee over here in eastern Oklahoma at 152. So anybody between Castle and near IXL up toward Mulgee Lake and Mulgee. So between now and 152, that's where that's going, and the circulation trying to close off a little bit. So I'd stay alert with that. It is severe right now. Doesn't have a tornado warning this very moment, but it's trying to close off. Wetumpka here, the next storm down the line, it's marginally severe right now. It's in the Wetumpka area, just passing to the east of Wetumpka right now. Again, Henrietta on I-40 at 157. So just make sure they're aware they're under a tornado watch there, and that storm is intensifying. And there's a little bit of weak rotation down here, talking about that Holdenville area again. That's going to be 127. It's currently 114. So 13 minutes from right now, and then Yeager and Wetumpka at 149. That storm is severe and does have a little bit of wind shear with it. It's worth watching. Surface winds, again, are not incredibly favorable right now ahead of the line. That's why these mesocyclones have had a hard time closing off pretty much all day, except they really got after it down there by Wynnewood and produced that one tornado about an hour and a half ago or so with one brief tornado. So there's a little broader view. Holdenville, lots of heavy rain coming up. That's going to help. Reduce the ability for the mesocyclone to spin. Rain creates a drag effect. So you see the heavy rain coming on into developing areas of spin approaching Holdenville, and you'd want that real heavy rain to come on up into the mesocyclone because heavy rain creates a drag effect on the spin in the atmosphere, right? Think of it as a soup can in the atmosphere that's spinning, a spinning soup can like a Campbell's soup can. Well, you throw a bunch of rain into that and it tends to slow the spin down. So that's good. We want widespread areas of rain to come up in to that area of circulation. So back down to Tupelo, back down to Texoma-land, heavy rainfall there, potential flooding with all the rain that we have seen. Eastern Oklahoma hasn't had near the rain that central and western Oklahoma has had, so eastern Oklahoma is going to love this as long as we don't have any, big-time tornadoes here, right? We've already had one damaging tornado on the north side of Tulsa near Ramona and Vera, but and it's damaged some homes up there. It was a strong tornado. But in our viewing area, one brief tornado near Wynnewood about an hour and a half ago. So again, there's Mulgee County. There's Tulsa right up there, Kiefer and Bixby and Jenks right up there. So again, here is the area that we're watching in our viewing area right here. Let's go back over to the Eric Dixon, Corey Inman tag team tracker team with an update, guys. About 20 minutes.
Derek. I'm in Wewoka here. I'm going to kind of watch that storm. I'm turning around here, watch that storm as it's coming into the Wewoka, into the Holdenville area here. Definitely, a lot of heavy rain through here. And, I'm not seeing that soup can effect. I'm hoping no one's going to fill that soup can up with a tomato soup. That's just nasty stuff there. So we're going to watch this storm here. We want that rain to just drag that soup can down and slow these mesocyclones down. But definitely a lot of torrential rain out here, a lot of flooding that's starting to take place on these roads here. A lot of street water draining off here of these small roads out here. So you got to take it slow out here. It's been kind of hindering our chase a little bit here. We've been running into a lot of heavy rain here, so you got to slow down and make sure you can get to where you need to go here. So we're going to keep with it here. We woke into the Holdenville area. Mike?
Okay, let's go back over to radar. Eric, thank you very much. So if you're just now joining us here, there are no watches or warnings for the metro. The wave has been pushing very quickly to the east. And there will be no severe weather anywhere in the metro for the rest of today. We're just fine. A little bit of light rain coming in from the west, but the wave here, this is wave number 4, and it has been coming through and moving eastward pretty quickly. These are moving at about 40 miles an hour. So again, right around IXL, there's some rotation in through there. There's no tornado warning, and then down to Okmulgee by 1:53. So stay alert there. It's got some circulation with it. Talking about northeastern Okfuskee County into Okmulgee County, and there's a little bit of weak rotation near Wewoka. It's going to head for Wetumpka here in the next couple of minutes, and then Waleetka by 1:46, and then Henrietta again by about 2 o'clock. And the area down by Sasakwa and Holdenville, a little bit of weak spin there, but nothing too major. Holdenville 128, and Wetumpka again about 149. Lots and lots of heavy rainfall. Let's go back to Corey Inman here. He's near I-40 near Okemah right now. Corey?
Yeah, Mike, we are at I-40 here, just north of Cromwell. Just a lot of very heavy rain. Winds have subsided. Main line is starting to push out here as it moves into the Okemah area. So everything is slid to the east of us and starting to clear out here just north of Cromwell.
Okay, Corey, thank you so much. Let's go back over to Max 1. So there are no active tornado warnings for the KFOR viewing area, which is good. Not showing anything here at all. North of Okemah, there's a little spin heading into Okmulgee County, but nothing here showing, talking about Wewoka and Holdenville and Waleetka and Wetumpka, Hughes County here. Nothing really too ominous in through there. Just watching that one area spin there, quite a ways north of Okemah, just tracked over Highway 48, heading into Okmulgee County. There's your time of arrival. Severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warning with that. And other areas of weak spin, but no tornado warning. Wetumpka, Waleetka, then again over toward Henrietta by 2 o'clock. Again, severe potentially, but no real spin. Lots of heavy rain down by Sasakwa, again, the Holdenville area. Heavy rain coming in. The storm is severe, doesn't appear to be. There's no really giant hail with it. A lot of dimes and nickels here, maybe a couple isolated quarters, but mainly dimes and nickels. And there's again Okfuskee County. This is east on I-40, about 70 miles to the east of Oklahoma City is where this is, pushing eastward away from the Oklahoma City metro. There's Pontotoc County, Bing, Allen, good heavy rain there. Ada, good heavy rains. We like all the heavy rains and no supercells, at least no organized supercells, so that's really good. So we're going to be tracking this eastbound again. There are no tornado warnings for our viewing area right now, which is very good news. So tornado watch does continue to the east. No active tornado warnings are in effect. We're going to watch this very carefully. The metro, we are severe weather free for the rest of today. That's everybody in the Oklahoma City metro, including Shawnee and Norman and Pauls Valley and everybody in the Oklahoma City metro. So we're watching this carefully. Stay with News 4 throughout the day. We'll keep you forewarned.